Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting close. We're getting close. Game day awaits.
Shout out to G. Bush, who's still not feeling
How's he doing? Has
bad
anybody
neck.
talked to him?
I didn't talk to him, but I was texting with him last night.
His neck, right?
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah, he's had some
He'll
serious
be back
neck
tomorrow,
issues for a
hopefully,
while.
but
yeah,
pretty debilitating.
Shout him out on social media. Tell him you're thinking of him. G. Bush, we miss you.
I'm
Get well.
holding you down, G, on the fast.
Yeah, he's got the shoes
I got the
again.
shoes on for you, G.
Yeah.
Just for you.
I
Plant
like
13.
Those are nice. Very nice. Busy show today. Very busy show. We're going to dive into the Browns defense, how they line up against the Steelers offense, which I think is near the bottom of the NFL.
Stinks.
That they're not good at all. Tyvis, you're in for a real treat. If you're still wondering what the hell happened on the pass defense breakdown and more particularly the onside kick, he was just breaking it down for us here.
A 20-minute clinic to the point
Yeah.
where
Jason and I,
for the show to start. The
we
music
did a
started,
preview.
and he had to
Exactly.
get wired up.
And it's great. You're not going to want to miss this coming up
He's
later.
got the Tyvis whiteboard.
He's got the
he's going to
Corey
educate
Davis
us.
touchdown.
Tyvis
He's got
Madden.
the
onside kick?
The onside kick. He's
And
got
the last
Brees-
touchdown.
And the,
Are you doing the last touchdown?
I got the last
And
touchdown, the
Brees
Brees
Hall.
Holmes, the Corey
Yeah.
Davis, and the
Yeah.
onside
A lot of
kick.
blame to go around is what we're
Yes.
seeing.
Yeah.
A whole lot of blame.
I got the answer. I got the answer to who it is.
There is crossover. Also, I'll just throw this in quickly, but after a mixed career with the Browns and the Steelers, I was kind of surprised to hear this, but he was going to sign a one-day contract with the Browns so he can retire as a Cleveland Brown.
I love it. And I usually think those things
Joe
are
Hayden.
stupid, but I
He
love
did
it.
say
Joe
something
Hayden.
Oh, yeah, Joe Hayden. My bad.
Yeah.
I was surprised to hear that, but I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear
Yeah,
it.
me too.
I mean, I hated when the Browns let him go.
Yeah.
I
Dumb
hated
move.
even more that the Steelers got him and had some life left in him.
I would put this in the Mitchell Schwartz category that when we had Mitchell
Yes,
on.
you're right.
about
How
it.
did that happen?
How did that, like a veteran who still could play? I mean, Mitchell was a lot younger than Joe was.
well,
we
let's
could
save the
we
rest
could
of
get
it.
Joe Hayden
Yeah.
on the show.
Yeah.
I know we could.
I texted Steve
We reached out.
about it.
and he would probably take
Wait,
us through exactly how
he-
that happened. But my understanding is he wanted to stay here.
Of course.
He left
That's
when
it.
Greg Williams was here because he left the year. I was here that year.
Yeah,
he ended up
right,
leaving. When,
Right. They cut him in the
Yeah, they
before
wasn't
the
big.
season.
I don't think they was really big on DBs back then.
Well, I think they thought he was out of
Kind of
gas.
important.
They
Yeah,
did. It was stupid.
as we've seen the last 2 weeks, they're important.
Because it was like a.
And he had something left in the
Yeah.
tank. Also, waiver wire Wednesday. Dave Richards going to join us with some good fantasy pickups.
Basically,
by the way,
dunk on Bull for 10 minutes. That's all we're going to do.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
my
know.
team's off to a
You're the
terrible start.
expert. And you know what? It's a marathon. Don't
brutal.
laugh. I started
Brutal.
0-2 last year. I finished 11-3, and I won my
Hey, I
championship.
deserved the early season dunking.
That's
I'll
okay.
admit it.
You can
Yeah.
fix
It's-
things.
it's
Dave
just-
Richard, by the way, his pickup ideas last week,
Yeah.
spot on.
Yeah, he's
Every
great.
single guy he talked
the
about.
Herbert dude.
No, he said he's down the road. He said he's down the road.
Because I
he's gonna-
showed when it picked him up. I
No.
wasn't even here, and I tuned in.
He
and
said
put
in
him up.
time he's going to
Yeah.
get his looks.
Right.
Okay.
But the guys that he talked about having an immediate impact, I thought he was great.
Yeah.
Brooks Pryor, she is the Steelers reporter for ESPN. She's going to join us as well. We are going to be heavy Browns today. An hour and 45 minutes of our 2-hour show will be Browns. But we have to start Guardians, guys, because we had a text chain last night
56
that was
messages.
going until after midnight. 56 messages.
that's what they
McNuggets woke up this morning. I had 56 messages. Most of them from Adam, Jason, and Jay. What the hell's going
All
on?
of them.
No,
Yeah.
Y'all might say all of them
56
because
were from
nobody
you
else
guys.
was in there.
Okay, so the magic number is 9. I know it was 12
Everybody
yesterday.
keeps saying 10.
No,
which
it's
is wrong.
not 10. So
Yeah.
the deal is, and this is why they had to win one of the 3.
Yeah.
And now they're playing with house money the next
Yes.
2. Because they won yesterday, that means they won the season series against the White Sox,
Right.
which means there will not be a 163rd game.
That-
If they finish tied, the Guardians have the advantage. So now the White Sox have to win the division by a game over the
There's
Guardians.
no more game 163, at least
No.
for this year. It doesn't
Yeah.
exist this year
It's out.
because the season got pushed back
Exactly.
because of the lockout, so that's why they're using tiebreakers. But this was it, guys, and I know you guys stayed up as I
Biggest
did.
win of the year.
That was a great game, and we went into it yesterday. I know you weren't here, Jason, but like you looked at the pitching matchups for the series.
Didn't like it.
And the White Sox, especially in the first game, had
They
a
had to
massive
get that one.
advantage.
They had to get that one.
Right? They needed that one. And I said yesterday, the White Sox had all the pressure, and Dylan Cease, who's not pitching a lot of – he's had a great year.
Yeah.
Top 3 for Cy Young, but he pitched those first 2 innings tight. There was no doubt he was tight to me.
If you look at his box score, you think he was masterful.
Right, and he settled down after the second inning.
He did settle in, and he got them 6.
Right.
But he was over 40 pitches through 2. He struggled with the strike
50.
zone
He was
all
at 50.
night. He was.
Yeah.
Struggled with the strike zone
Yes.
all night. And then the Guardians win how the Guardians win.
Yeah.
The bullpen was, I know Clase gave up the 2.
Yeah.
It was a cheap hit to start the 10th.
Yeah.
There's first and third. Your text at that point was, I might as well go to bed right now.
Wait, what happened with somebody he's safe or something? I seen that text, and that was the last thing I seen.
So there was some really bad umpiring and,
That's the
and
last
some
thing I
questionable
seen y'all
challenges
say.
in both dugouts.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So Francona challenge. So there was a
In the 6th
there was a
inning.
slide in the there was a stolen base in the 6th inning by Elvis Andrews.
Yep.
And Ahmed Rosario slapped down the tag. He missed him, but he went crazy as
Yes.
if he had tagged him. Francona reacted to that and challenged. He was wrong. He was safe.
Now, by the way, I'm
Yeah.
still not convinced that he didn't tag him.
But-
here's what we can say for
Yeah.
certain. They didn't have a camera angle that showed his glove hitting the player. Anybody that's played baseball, and particularly the middle infield, knows this. When you're going to apply a tag, it's the same thing when you're sliding into a bag.
Yeah.
There's 2 people that know for certain what happened. The guy sliding
Right.
and the guy with the ball in his glove. Because you feel it. You know when
Sure.
you tag somebody.
Sure.
And the way Rosario jumped up, I immediately said, he got him. He got him. The ump missed it.
Right.
And it was away from the bag, and it would have been a tag on the leg, which normally he's going to be safe.
Right.
On a tag down in the lower half of the body,
Right.
you have to assume that the hand got to the bag first. But the way Rosario was reacting, I would have challenged that too. Terry
wouldn't have, because I feel like you got to have somebody in the booth, and I think they do.
They do, but
telling
the
him-
reason that's really dicey, Bull.
Yeah.
I know we talked about this
Yeah.
on the chain yesterday. They have a very infinite amount of time to challenge.
Right.
You really have to kind of trust your gut and trust the reaction to the
Yeah.
player.
I think
because there's
yeah.
so many angles that even the guys that are in the dugout or that are in the clubhouse looking, they don't have access to all the angles that they have in New York.
I know we want to get to a couple other quick things here before 11:10, but for 10 seconds, the rule in baseball, just like football, is stupid. There should be a replay official. You have 30 seconds to get the call correct. If you can't figure it out in 30 seconds, it wasn't meant to be overturned.
You said that in the text yesterday.
They
I
should just do
disagree
that.
with that because if you've got 10 camera angles, you can't look at all of them in 30 seconds. And they probably did
I
at
think
10
if it's that
camera
close,
angles.
it shouldn't matter.
He got you on that
If
one.
it's the 2nd inning, I don't think he challenges. But it's
Yeah.
the 6th inning.
Right.
It goes to the booth in the 8th inning.
And look at the
It
situation
cost-
in the
but
game,
in the end, whether it was right or not, in the end, it cost them because they couldn't overturn when Rosario was clearly safe at the
7th
plate,
Right.
which at the
7th
time you thought would cost them because instead of being 4-3 and still at bat, it's 3-3. Then the teams go quiet until
But you know what I
Yeah.
love, though?
Yeah.
The Guardians, I think, probably felt that Terry's kind of on the hook here.
Yeah.
And they didn't let him down. They had his
Yes.
back. They picked him up.
And I think Terry did that because he wanted to show Rosario that he
I
had
hear
his
ya.
back.
Yes.
Because Terry has deep respect for Ahmad Rosario.
And he should.
what he means to that clubhouse.
Yes, yes.
And I think that was more than anything saying, okay, you're my guy. I'm gonna
Right.
go out on the limb.
I
for you."
agree
I
1,000%.
By the way, I
Respect
didn't
that.
I said this at the time when it happened. I didn't like keeping Savali in for the 6th. I know he'd pitch well.
I know.
But I was like 5 innings,
He was
get him
pitching
out.
too good to get rid of him.
I don't know. They were talking. They said the pitch count was like 75 anyway. He was at 60 something. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Which Bull is
Yeah.
low. He was coming back from the DL.
Yes.
He hadn't pitched well all year
Right.
up to that point. But, I mean, I always tell you, I don't really look at the line score so much as I look at the stuff. I thought he had really good
I thought he was
stuff.
great. But
I thought he had good command
But
of the
he's
strike
always
zone.
struggled third time through the lineup.
He has,
and
and-
that's what. And listen, it was an infield hit and a walk, whatever.
And
but
an
anyway,
unearned run.
Yes,
One of those 3 were unearned.
that's true. But here's the thing that gets lost if you didn't watch the game, guys. And I know you did. In the top of the 10th, they scored 2 runs.
Right.
And the White Sox end up tying. And had they only scored 1 run, you never know. Maybe Clase has a different mindset for the inning. I don't know.
Jose Ramirez.
But Jose Ramirez getting to third
yes.
on that hit
Yep. That's
led to the second run because Gonzalez gets the fly ball. It's a sac fly. A lot of guys don't get to third on that play.
No.
He's busting
And by
his
the way, the
ass.
play was as close as the play
It
could be.
was, and a lot of guys
but
don't
he was
get
in
it.
there. He was
and
safe.
if he doesn't get the third, they don't score the second run, and
They
in
lose the
theory,
game.
they lose the game.
And you know what, Bull?
Yeah.
Think of how the season is. Our magic number isn't 9, it's 12.
Yes.
Chicago brings Mo into today.
doubt.
And so literally, it's the little things. We always talk about that.
Yeah.
He's your best player. He's your highest paid player. He is the guy setting the tone in that dugout. And when
Yeah.
we juxtaposed that with the Browns yesterday, okay, in that same situation, who's that guy for the Browns that's stepping up and doing that? We'll put a bow on this because we've got to get to the Browns.
Give some love to Miles Straw too.
He's been phenomenal.
By the way,
phenomenal.
I tweeted right when he came to the plate.
I saw that.
I tweeted, I believe in you, Miles Straw.
You picked him up for fantasy.
I did.
Yeah. and you were so hard on Miles Straw's hitting like 500 the last
deservedly
week.
so. I was hard on
Bull
him.
picked him up on fantasy.
But in fairness, I give him credit. He
And
played well
Austin
in September.
Hedges had a big sack flop.
Oh, well,
before the first
we
run.
knew it did. Come on, man. You know.
I mean, it's crazy.
Put the
It was
jersey
crazy.
back
But
on,
Straw's had
Anthony.
some big hits lately, and that was huge. That double, and then it felt like the White Sox quit. I know they lit up Shaw a little bit the next inning.
Their
Made us
clubhouse
nervous.
today is going to be a dark place. I mean, they had last night to think about what
I think
that
it's
loss
over.
meant.
I think it's over.
I,
Get it done.
I believe you are too. I believe you're right.
We'll get back to him later in the show.
We got to be careful because remember 99.9. Remember 99.9.
I don't think there's any onside kicks in baseball.
Wow.
I mean, all I have to hear is the line from Dumb and Dumber. So you're telling me I have a chance.
Yeah, keep it going today. Keep it going.
Go ahead.
We'll be up late watching it
Well,
again.
we were up. Well, you guys were up later than I was.
We
last
were,
night.
yeah.
I crashed a little early after a terrible basketball performance, and I woke up just exhausted,
Shame.
no energy.
It's a shame.
Couldn't shoot?
I was, no joke, probably like 3 of 100 yesterday. It was
That's
abysmal.
terrible.
I'm telling you, it was
Shoot or shoot.
so bad.
I've never had that type of performance.
That's just a lie, Tyvis. But the only way to get me back into the flow of things this morning, because, hey, no days off in the UCSS world,
No, there really isn't for you guys.
was
I-
a handy
I
dandy
heard
Built Bar.
By the way, before you do that, I heard the Akron Beacon. Is it the Akron Beacon Journal that Jeff Shadell works for? You know Jeff?
No, that's
What's
the
he-
Lake County Gazette.
Oh yeah, Jeff. I heard Jeff took you to the hole and dunked on you. I know you don't know who Jeff is, but that's what I heard.
I'm doubting
Does
that.
People
Jeff
who know
work-
Jeff, the people who know Jeff, they'll think it's funny.
Why are you shooting strays at Jeff Shadell?
I love Jeff. I always joke around. Yesterday, Sir Yacht tweeted, "I want to race the fastest person in Cleveland." And blah, blah, blah. I don't know what it was. And I said, well, it's either me or Jeff Shadell. I love Jeff. I poke fun because I love him. I only make fun of people I love.
I want to see
If
a
I-
race
if I-
between
if
Sir
I'm nasty
Yacht
about it,
and
then I don't love you.
You start at the 50,
Yeah.
and he has to go goal line to goal line. Sir Yacht, if you're watching, can you beat
I mean,
him
If you let
with a
probably.
50-yard
let
head
him
start?
walk you
I'll
down,
text Sir
He's
Yacht
like
right now. We can
20
set that
and
up.
thin. I'm 50
All
and
you'd have to
nothing.
do is be able to run 50 yards in 10 seconds. And I don't
tell
care
you
how
what,
fast he is, you're going to beat him.
The last time I ran, I would say for my size, I'm surprisingly fast.
Okay, good.
For my size.
So how about a 40-yard head
That's
start?
like saying a good game for Jacoby Brissett.
run a
It's like I can run fast.
Could
For
you run a 40 in 8 seconds?
Oh, I would hope so.
8 seconds? I don't even
That's
know.
a lot of time.
That's
Eli Manning just ran it in 5.49
The only thing I'd be
seconds.
afraid, I would do it.
Well,
but I'm
Eli
afraid
was
I'm gonna-
never fast.
You know,
I know.
I got a sore Achilles.
I don't know if Bulls
Here
2.5
come the
seconds.
excuses.
Excuses.
Here come the
Can't even put his hand
I
on the
will do
ground.
it. I'll do it sometime.
I think
I'll probably
Bull
pull
is-
my
I
hamstring.
think Bull
but-
is more than 2.5 seconds slower than Eli
Listen,
Manning.
if Bull wants to be faster, he just needs to eat more Built Bars.
That's true.
You're right.
You know, I can't guarantee it
Yeah.
increases speed, but
How
I
did
can
you
tell
feel after you ate the Built Bar?
re-energized. Like I slept 10 hours.
You
and,
could
like,
go 4 for 100 today?
I would have went 7 for 100 if I had a Built Bar before the game last night. 160 calories. You burned through that in 10 minutes playing hoops. 15 grams of protein. I ran to BuiltBar.com, snagged a box for me, and I sent one to my family too. It's my dad's birthday coming up, so
Nice.
he's getting Built Bars for his birthday. Best part, it was 15% off because I
Great
used code.
gift.
How do you get the
LOCKEDON15.
15% off?
Just use LOCKEDON15 as your promo code at
okay.
Built.com. Built Bars, good for everybody.
Talk amongst yourselves.
By
I
the
have
way,
a
is
ruptured
it like
eardrum now
remember
from this thing.
a few months ago? A few months ago, we did a top 5 list of like the annoying guys at the pickup basketball
Yeah,
game.
we
Remember that?
did. Yeah.
Mikey is like the cocky little guy who doesn't do anything, and you're like, why is this guy so cocky? He can't.
Hold
do
up. Hey,
crap.
hey, first off, you weren't there yesterday. The guy I was playing didn't score the entire 2 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, the guy he is to me
Yeah.
is the guy who when you find out he's checking you, you're like, yeah.
Right.
And then about 10 possessions in, you're like, okay, this little gnat's going to get an elbow real soon. Real soon.
Nah, it
You're
picked up
pesky
not
on
necessarily,
defense.
but usually when shots are falling, my defense teeters off a little bit because, you know, I could.
James Harden.
I may give you 2-3 points. I'm going to score 6 or
James
7.
Harden is what you
right.
just said.
I said I
He's the
think
little
I
man
knew it.
James Harden.
He
Dude,
looked
I-
like that.
I think we should set up a UCSS half-court basketball game. I'm not running full court. None of that nonsense. But
Me and Brad.
let's play a half-court game.
Me and
I
Brad.
invited you guys
versus
to play
everybody.
last night.
Mikey didn't send
I
out an
invited
invite.
all
I
you guys to
nominated
play
Brad.
last night.
I love
Anthony was
Mikey.
the only one
Me,
who
Brad,
said
and G.
Mikey, we all
It's
have
over with.
children. We're not going out. We'll go. we got children. We're not going out at night to play basketball. Come on now. We got to play how about Saturday morning or something?
Be Brad and G versus any three. Any five.
What? I'm getting
G
Brad
can't
on my
even walk
team.
right now. Hold on. Before you putting G in a basketball game, let's get G back on the show.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You got a point.
All right, let's talk
Let's
Browns.
talk about football.
Yeah.
So the Browns defense, I know that it's like saying, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how did you enjoy the play?
Yeah.
We've really been brutal on this defense. But
Yeah.
truth be told, and I know you can't take those 5 breakdowns for 209 yards out.
But other than that
nasty
That's
wart
sad.
on the tip of her nose, do you think
sad.
she's pretty?
And the crooked teeth in the
I
back.
think
you got to
they've
be
been
able
pretty
to.
good.
You got to be able
Jay,
to see past those things.
And I know it's
got a great
impossible.
personality.
She got a great personality.
That's the Browns defense.
Guys, here's a good way
But
to
they've
put it.
been good
But
with
here's a
the
good way to put
exception
it,
of
Jay.
those
Here's a good way to
breakdowns.
put it. They're not the problem is not the talent.
No.
The problem is communication and execution, right? I mean, it's not the talent. They have the players talented enough
Right.
to do it. They just got their heads up their ass in
And
terms
you
of
know what?
communicating.
And you know what? I'm not even. I can hear anybody that's watching this. The comment section is flooded. Joe Woods is terrible. Joe Woods. That's got to be on coaching.
What do you say to that?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, he's got to take
I
some
think
blame.
it maybe what it is. If there's communication issues, then the defense may be too complex for them. It's too much that you're trying to do.
Oh, really?
That's a possibility.
You know, you had the long pass
Yeah.
against the Eagles in the preseason. Those weren't the starters.
Correct.
Then you have different players that are just confused.
Yeah.
That's what leads me to believe that this is a systemic problem
Mm-hmm.
and not necessarily an individual problem, because you got the backups, you got the starters, you got different starters. It seems like the whole process is flawed.
Well, I don't think it's that. I think it because it's literally can all be fixed with a 3-second conversation. Like
What is that conversation?
communicating what we in. Okay, so if they
Take
call,
us through the green sticker nonsense. What's that all about?
Whoever, I don't know.
Denzel brought it up.
Whoever has it, they need to make it consistent.
Anthony Walker currently wears it.
Okay, that's
Right.
what I thought. He's the Mike linebacker. So of course he is. So he's the one that's getting the play call, and he's the one. But that's the thing. When we did it, we didn't care who had the green sticker. You look to the sideline and signal the call in. That way, everybody's on the same. Everybody looking to the sideline, they signal it in, and we all see what the call is. All right, boom. Now I'm looking at the corner. If I'm at safety, I'm looking at the corner. Hey, we in cover 4. We in read in this play. We in read, or we in cover 3. Like he say it, he say it back to me. Now we both know. Boom. I turn to the safety. We in read. What you in? We in read. All right. So now. Everybody, all 4 of them have the communication that we all are on the same page.
How long does that process take? 2 seconds?
2
And
seconds?
why is this not happening, Ty? Are they too cocky
Because
that they know each other?
Yes, that's the problem.
Yeah.
They think we all sat in the same meeting room. We all watched the same film. So when it comes up, oh, he got it. He know. If I see it, then he probably know. And the problem is they assuming that everybody understands things.
That's really
when them
bad.
pieces change, you got to be able to talk it out. Even if you know that he knows, still say it to him because you never know. Obviously, you got 2 games to show you that they're not 100% sure.
Right.
So I think what he needs to do, Joe Woods needs to stop. Because if you listen to Grant Delpit, he says we got 2 call coverages that could possibly happen on this play. Well, if everybody's not seeing the formation the same way, that'll lead to somebody not playing it correctly, and that's probably that's what happened on
read
Denzel.
it incorrectly.
Yeah, Denzel read it correctly.
So that's not a
the other 10 read it a
miscommunication,
different way.
That's not even miscommunication. That's just
Too much
processing error.
It's too much. Just say we in
Right.
cover 3. That's it. Ain't no if they come out in
Keep it simple.
3x2, 3x1, 2x we run in cover 3. That's it.
Yeah,
Not we in if it's empty we gonna play it like this, or if it's covered if it's 2x2 we gonna play. No, we cover 3. Ain't no checks.
So Tyvis, I mean, in a perfect world, the coach will do that because then you have the option to switch because you have a better defense for the call
Right.
of the
That's-
offense.
that's right.
However, better to keep it more vanilla or simple
Exactly.
than to have the breakdown trying to be too creative, right?
You can live if they come out and we call cover 3 and they run a cover 3 beater. That's part of the game. You can live. You tackle it. At least somebody will
Right.
be around there to make a play. If you bust the coverage, somebody's running wide open and there's no.
as we've seen.
Exactly.
Why no bump?
Why no bump?
Yeah, why no at the line
Because
disrupting routes?
that is dictated by the formation. So in certain formations, if it's a reduced formation, you can't press it.
I understand that, but there's a lot of times that we could have pressed.
So if they're calling cover 3, okay, now then you can learn this. Yeah. Anybody that's watching can learn this. Y'all can go play for the Browns today. So this is how we do it. And if it's cover 3, yeah.
Okay.
At least you'll know what he's doing.
Okay.
And cover 3, how they do it is if it's one receiver to your side, you man, so you can press it.
Right.
Even if it's cover 3, because it's only one guy.
And is that up to the player, or is that dictated by the coach?
They say you want it to be man.
Right.
On the playbook, when you read the playbook, it says man.
No, but you're saying it could either be press or he can play off. Who's making the decision?
The coaches want everything to look the same, so you really want to press.
Okay,
everything. When I was in Seattle, San Fran, Dallas, we all ran the same press. Everybody press.
That's anytime it's 3-by-1.
If it's when you got one to your side,
right?
Even if it's when it's 2 receivers to your side, you still want to press, but you got to bail on the snap because you have to be able to see 2.
So you're showing press, but you're backing
bailing out on the snap.
Okay.
So as soon as the ball is snapped, boom, get out and get back.
Got it.
I've never been a fan of people that just play off. You gotta have a special talent because you're giving up too much. They can throw the jailbreak or the bubble out there.
There's space right off jump.
Exactly. And I'm not a fan of that. I press everything, and if I'm not playing man, I will bail. That's the best way to do it. Now, if they're in a reduced split, you can't press that.
I understand that.
So that's why on the Corey Davis thing, they was in a reduced split, so he had to play it off.
Yeah, and I wasn't speaking specifically of that play. I just don't see them pressing much at all.
No, I think they do press. I gotta go back and watch it again, but for the most part, I know Denzel prefers to press.
And I think his skill set is built for him to do that.
This is a coaching decision.
If he's playing off and it's not a reduced split, then the only other way I can see it is remember when I told you in the Carolina game for the Robbie Anderson, they had to read something?
Yep.
That's the only way you can play off. Because you're too busy trying to read what number 2 is doing, so you can't see it from a press line.
In your experience, is this problem something that they can make a few tweaks and it's instantly fixed and it doesn't rear its head again?
Yes, it's literally a conversation.
He's got to simplify
it,
right?
Why was that conversation had, though, after the Carolina game?
Tyvus is going to break this down.
I know he is. I'm not asking him about specifics. I'm being macro here. We're going to dive into the micro of each of those plays. I'm talking about in the big picture.
Why?
You're saying, a 3-second conversation fixes it. I'm guessing that conversation happened after the Carolina game.
When I was in Seattle, San Fran, and Dallas, we didn't bust coverages. You know why? Because we talk. We hand signal.
Right, but it carried over from Carolina.
I don't know why they don't want to do it.
Why did it carry over from Carolina
because to the Jets? The Corey Davis one was literally 10 people played one thing and one person didn't. So 10 people was on the same page.
But then the same thing happened again this week.
The Robbie Anderson thing, like I said, the Robbie Anderson, you could blame that on coaching because he wasn't clear. It was gray area, so that's why it led to what it led to.
Okay.
But this last one, the call was great. If 11
why
people,
are they not ultimately? Is the coach telling them to communicate and they're being defiant about it for some reason?
Well,
or are they just so cocky they don't think they need to?
So
do you do hand signals because you don't want the other team to hear,
No, you do hand signals so everybody knows because it's so loud. You're on defense, so everybody's screaming.
So
they're
is it
not
possible?
Going to hear you.
Is it possible Denzel missed the hand signal, or did it not happen?
I don't know if they signal or not.
Okay,
that's the thing.
Why did Denzel bring up the green sticker? I'm wondering does he want it and he's upset that he doesn't have it?
If he's bringing up the green sticker, then it tells me that only Anthony Walker is getting the call and he has to relay it to 11 people or 10 other people.
Right.
And if that's the case, they need to switch that and make somebody on the sideline signal the call. Please signal. So everybody, you can't rely on one person to tell 10 people. Unless, if you're going to do that, you have to huddle up.
Hold on.
You have to come to the They don't huddle.
So, Tyvus, when you were in all your stops, you had one guy with the green dot who was getting in his helmet.
Bobby.
And then there was somebody on the sideline signaling to the rest of you.
Yes.
But you saying that might not be happening with the Browns? Have you ever heard of a team not doing that?
Yeah, it's possible, but
why
would you do it that way?
Why would you do it?
Yeah, why would you have other guys that get the signal?
Like why would you have somebody signal on the
signal on the sideline?
Yeah. I don't know why you wouldn't signal on that. Maybe because somebody might steal the signal.
That's what I was going to say.
That's the only thing.
Don't they always have decoys?
Defense at that. This is the thing. The defense. Everybody knows what the Browns is running. Is that defensive scheme is one of those ones. Yeah, you know what we in, but
especially the Jets coach. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
He knows it as well as anybody.
He made it. So it's one of the ones that it's only certain ways that you can beat this defense. If you're running cover 3, it's only so many 3 beaters that you can run. You need to know that and know how to play those beaters. If you do that, you'll be fine.
Give me a percentage chance that it's fixed against the Steelers.
1,000%.
Better be. Wow.
I'm just glad you didn't say 99.9.
1,000%. Listen, they had a players only meeting last night. That's
did?
what that's about.
The defense did, yeah.
That's what this about.
Yeah.
Getting it fixed.
Yeah, we can't listen.
I wish that would have happened after the Carolina game.
They went up there. They had that players only meeting, and they said, as a defense, somebody stood up on that stage and they said, "Listen, our coaches have been thrown under the bus, and it ain't on them. We got too much talent on this team to be sitting here BSing like we doing. We got to come in here, lock in, communicate."
Who led that meeting?
I don't know who led it. Don't care, but I'm going to tell you, I know exactly what was said because I've been in meetings like this. We're not about to waste this time. Like, this team is too talented. We too good. We can't have that ever happen again. I don't care what we need to do. If we need to watch film, sit down, talk, communicate, throw gang signs, whatever it is, we better make sure that we do it Thursday night. We cannot afford to lose this game.
I like the 1,000%.
Yeah,
1,000%. They're not having that, no. I'm going to tell you that right now. They're going to overemphasize that.
Speaking of Thursday night, guys, like we've talked so much about the secondary because that's been the big thing, right? The breakdowns, although some of it's been on JOK, which we'll get to later. Mm-hmm. But I'm very nervous. Like, the Steelers' offensive line stinks.
Yeah.
And that should be a huge advantage in the trenches for the Browns. However, Clowney's not playing, and we don't know what Myles Garrett's status is. Kevin Stefanski yesterday, you were there, Jason, right?
Yeah.
He was very, he never gives any answers, so maybe I shouldn't read into it. But he was very shady when it came to Myles Garrett. If Myles Garrett doesn't play,
There's a problem.
they got nothing on the defensive line.
That's a bunch of guys. It's time to step up.
Yeah.
That's what that means. But I don't see why he wouldn't play.
I believe he'll play.
Yeah,
I don't know anything,
Myles
but I
Garrett.
believe
Yeah,
he'll play.
I
I
think
think
so,
if
too.
Myles Garrett's come off to me is if he has a pulse in his body,
play.
he's going out there. Because he knows how much that they need him.
He's gotta dominate.
Especially with going against Pittsburgh and them having this great defense. It's going to be a defensive game. Whoever has the best defense is going to win this game.
I agree, and I think it'll be low scoring.
And they're
game.
without
Me
TJ
too.
Watt.
Exactly.
Which is a devastating, obviously, loss for them.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of talk, and we heard this last year, and everybody that was screaming it the first half of the season scurried under the couch for the second half of the season. But I heard a lot of calls for Joe Woods' job last year, first half.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing a lot of calls for Joe Woods' job already. Is he coaching for his job the rest of the way? Or are we making way more of that?
Is he coaching for his job?
I mean, I know everybody's coaching for their job. This is the
I'm about to
not for
say,
long
yeah.
league.
If the
I think-
defense stinks this year,
That's,
he's going to
yeah,
get fired.
that's what I
Yes.
think.
If this continues,
it depends on how the defense finishes out. If they continue to have coverage busts and stuff like that, then clearly what he's doing is not getting through to the players. And
Can't fire all the players.
It's too complex. So they will have to make a change in that area. But like I said, the way I look at it, the defense that he's calling, if they ran it, it would be no plays. They would literally cancel everything out that they're doing.
Doesn't
but
that
the
make you
problem
sick, though?
is
It does. Well, you said the Carolina,
it
though, might have been on Woods because there was some gray area.
the gray area.
I'm not Robbie Anderson.
Exactly, but I think they cleared that up. I don't think that will.
Well, look, he turned it around last year,
They
and he
won't-
turned it around in incredible fashion.
Yeah.
They
True,
were a
but
top 5 defense at the end of the year last year.
But this year, there's no excuse. Last year, they played the Chiefs to start the season. They played good offensive teams.
They did.
And there were a lot of new players on the defense. This year, they're starting against 4 of the worst offenses in the league. And
Not 2, not 3.
Yeah, right.
You sound like LeBron now.
And there's no new players on the team.
No, you're right.
So
no,
there's
I
no
agree.
excuse this year.
No, I agree.
Firing him now is stupid. Anybody saying
No,
that's dumb.
yeah, you're not
But
gonna-
if they have a bad season, I mean, if the Browns have a bad season, everybody might get fired.
But that's the thing, though. Outside of the coverage bus, the defense is great. I mean, they're not.
Well,
really,
that's why I started
makes
with
the coverage
other
bus
than
less
that.
excusable.
They've had a great personality.
58 minutes. Listen, 58 minutes of that game went by, and it was one coverage bust that led to a touchdown.
So, you know
that was
what?
technically 10 points.
Maybe they're the librarian with their hair up and the frumpy
glasses.
shoes and the
man.
glasses.
Here we
And
go.
maybe they're about to
On
take all
Friday
that
night,
stuff
let's go.
off, pull the hairpin out, throw their hair around, and we're going to be like, it's a supermodel under there.
Got it made. Got it made.
It's there. Like, I see the vision. Like, it's literally He's calling the right plays.
You're not worried.
I'm really not, because
Okay.
it's when I tell you, and it sounds so like it seems like it's so much more. But if they talk before the play, I talk all the way into the place the ball is snapped. It would eliminate so much of this stuff that's going on. I promise you, if they just talk.
So what has Kevin Stefanski been doing for the last 72 hours? Because really, he has no input on the defense.
Not
But
really.
obviously, but this does fall on him and being the head coach. So what's Kevin Stefanski doing for these last 72 hours?
Well, Kevin Stefanski is, first of all, as a head coach, you have to overlook everybody. You have to look at the defense and say, what was the problem? Communication's an error. So he goes in the meeting room. Y'all have to communicate. We will stop practice if every play I better hear something. That's, as a head coach, that's what he's going to say. Then he has to go look at the special teams coach and say, which I'm going to draw that up. What the heck are we doing on special teams on onside kick? We have to fix that. And then
And the fake punt.
Then offensively, obviously he's the head honcho on that. He'll have to talk about situational football. We have to be smarter situations. Don't make this mistake again and stuff like that.
We talked yesterday.
But they have to. The number one thing he'll preach is that we made mistakes. We have to turn the page and we have to get ready for Pittsburgh. And that's probably what's been going on for the past 48 hours.
Guys, the bad news is there's good and bad news here when it comes to the Steelers. The bad news is that the Steelers are the best coached team of the three teams you've played so far. The good news is, as much as I'm not a Baker guy, as we all know, and as much as I think Joe Flacco stinks at this point in his career, although he played very well, I think Mitch Trubisky is the worst of those three quarterbacks.
It looks like
and
it right now.
He's been terrible,
Yeah,
and
he
their
has not
offensive
been
line's
good.
been
And
terrible.
they're already starting the cries for Kenny. And,
I wonder how much longer this is going to go.
Before they make the switch. When's their bye week? Do we know when the Steelers' bye week is?
I don't
'Cause
know.
oftentimes that's when quarterbacks,
The
coaches
Steelers
make
don't
the change.
make panic moves traditionally.
No, but
No, they don't.
And I understand.
And there's no
starting with-
Kenny Pickett's no short thing
No,
either.
but he did have a good camp. But you're not going to once you take that hay out of the barn, you can't put it back in.
Yeah,
That's
it's
right.
tough.
So I understand starting with
Week
Trubisky.
9 is their bye, by the way.
I don't think it'll be that long. I
No.
think Kenny Pickett will be the quarterback long before then.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah.
I
At the rate they're
Trubisky-
going.
Trubisky
You
has
said
not
week
looked
what?
good at all.
Week 9 is the bye.
But
They
part
still
of,
have line issues, too. I mean,
part
their
of
line-
it, guys, is they are playing. Trubisky, I never thought was very good, but I'll take him off the hook a little bit because a lot of it is the play calling, and they are a conservative offense. They don't want to. They're scared to throw the ball down the field because the offensive line can't
Pittsburgh
protect.
wants to put Matt Canada on a rocket ship and fire him to the moon.
he is
Yeah.
really
The
on the hot
offensive
seat,
coordinator.
man. Oh, my
Right,
God.
but they want to go back to Steeler football and dominate like the Browns do on the ground.
Well,
but
they don't have the line to
They
do
got the
it.
line for that.
And
Yeah.
Najee Harris, a nice player, but he ain't Nick Chubb and he ain't Kareem Hunt.
And we're finding that out.
And they only have
I mean,
one guy.
Yeah.
And he on my fantasy team.
Well, he's a workhorse, but he's not working.
I'm putting him on the bench. I can't wait till we talk to Dave.
I wanted to ask you, I know you played special teams.
Yes.
The missed extra point was interesting to me.
Yeah,
because there was a guy who
Coming
came off
off
the
this-
corner
yeah.
completely untouched, and he was going to block that if the ball was kicked down the middle. I went back and looked at it last night after we talked about it on the show yesterday. To me, it felt like, and I'm not letting him off the hook, and he didn't use this as an excuse. Cade York said, I missed it, I'll be better next time.
He said he thought he hit it well. He was surprised he pushed it.
Right, and I know he didn't say anything about that, but man, when you go back and look at it, whether
you've
he
seen it.
subconsciously or consciously felt that edge guy coming, that kick was about to be blocked. And it looked to me like he just said, well, I'm going to push it off to the right to make sure he doesn't have a clean line at it.
That's probably what happened.
But-
As a kicker, you keep your head down and you keep your eye on
you
the ball.
feel
But
that.
if you see that color jersey, it's gonna make you
And so that's another thing. I know we're not breaking that down, but I don't know.
Special teams just got to be better.
Prefer-
the punt, the punt, the
the
onside,
the fake punt, the onside kick, and the extra
field.
point.
Yeah, that's
Not good enough.
You can't have that's tactical errors. Like,
Well, you know what? All the great coaches will tell you there's 3 phases to football.
Exactly.
And go ahead and ignore one, and then see how that works out for you.
Any of those 3 plays don't happen, the Browns still win the game. Well, the missed extra point, at least they would have gone to overtime.
At least you've got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows
Okay.
from there?
The only other thing that I had on my note sheet that I thought I'd like to talk about is, and it's a gray area because we don't know if Myles is going to be in there.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that the Steelers are a conservative offense. We know that they want to run the ball. They haven't been
Yeah.
able to do that with any success this year. We have talked about the weakness to the Browns' defense was the interior line, and obviously we know what Coach Tomlin's going to do. He's going to attack the weakness. Do you guys think that the Steelers will have more success running the ball against the Browns than they have so far this year. Because if they don't have a run game, I think this is a victory for the Browns. I think the only way the Browns lose it is if Pittsburgh can put together a ground game, take long stretches of clock away, and hope to win a close, low-scoring game.
I don't think they do. I don't think they will be able to run the ball. I think in this defense particularly, it's very hard to run the defense because of how it's structured. You got that extra safety in there for run protection in the box. And with them knowing that they want to run the ball more than likely, they'll stack the box more often. As long as those defensive tackles don't get blown off the ball and they can hold a gap, it'll allow them linebackers to hit their gap
and make the
plays.
Okay.
So the defensive tackle position will get tested for sure. They're going to want to run traps and dives and stuff like that. But if they can stand ground and allow them linebackers to come up there, they only got to hold the double team for literally like 2 seconds.
And they've been better than
exactly.
advertised
Yeah,
this year.
they've been impressive. I haven't really seen them get blown off the ball like I've seen in the preseason. So that was that's a credit to them for working at it. But if they hold that double team and let them linebackers come up there for about 2 seconds, it won't be a play.
Jason, do you have any fear in that regard?
Sure, yeah, just because everything we think we've known hasn't exactly gone to script so far. I'm curious to see how much Perrion Winfrey plays in this game, coming off the suspension.
Yesterday, when asked about it, Stefanski was real brief.
Well, he's not going to get into it. Perrion talked for quite a while about it, and
do you know?
I don't know.
Does anybody know?
Not to my
outside of the
knowledge.
team.
He said it was a one incident at practice. Perrion did. He said it wasn't a repetitive thing.
Right.
It was a one-time thing. He didn't really go into great detail. I haven't really asked around on it, just because there's other fires to put out.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's an ember in the corner. But when I heard about it, I initially thought, well, maybe he's trying to send the young man a message.
I think it's exactly what it was.
And hopefully the message has been received.
And he said, like Perrion said yesterday, every rookie goes on their own journey, and no, not every rookie gets suspended for a game, but this is the journey I'm on, and I'll learn from it, and I'll be a better pro.
I'm a little concerned, but not overly. I mean, the Bengals, who they played in Week 1, Bengals have one of the best defensive tackle combos in the league.
Yeah.
DJ Reader, who they got from the Texans, and B.J. Hill, who they got from the Giants. They're both top. I mean, DJ Reader's a top 10 defensive tackle, and B.J. Hill's a probably top 20 guy. So they got a good, stout defensive tackle group. But the Patriots really don't. I don't think they have anybody that's really stand out, and yet the Patriots kind of stopped them too. So, I mean, as you guys have said, the Browns have been pretty good at that position so far. It was one of our biggest concerns coming in, and so far they've done the job. I'm more concerned if Myles Garrett doesn't play, because having Myles Garrett makes everybody else's job easier. And they're already losing Clowney. So I'll be more concerned about
Who is Myles' backup? Because if Clowney isn't playing, Alex Wright is in. Who's the other guy?
Well, I was going to say Alex Wright, so I don't know, because Vinovich is out.
He's out too, yeah.
Is it,
not that he did anything.
Because I seen Rochelle get activated.
Right,
yes.
He may play.
Well,
I mean, he's going to play some.
Might need to.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I will say about Alex Wright is that he sets an edge.
He's impressed me.
He sets an edge. They ain't getting outside of him, so that's a win right there.
For a rookie,
Yeah.
he's impressed me.
I don't have anything else on my sheet but Browns defense against Steelers offense. Am I leaving anything out? I mean, their receiving core.
That's it. The receiving core. I mean,
and
they got a talented receiving core.
But they're not tapping into.
And George Pickens came out and said that he was open 90% of the play.
Yeah, he hasn't. Everybody was going nuts about him in the fantasy community. He hasn't done anything the first 2
what
weeks.
surprised me about his comment is all the other receivers made a similar comment, and they said, we are open 100% of the time. So I guess he's.
Yeah, so I don't know what he's doing on those 10%.
I don't know what he's doing on those other 10%.
We got to ask Brooke Pryor about this, because there was some arguing on the sidelines.
Yeah, there is some definite.
Clearly, they're frustrated with the. I don't know if it's Trubisky specifically or with the game plan, whatever it is. They do have. You talked about the wide receivers. Deontay Johnson's a top 10, 15 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Claypool's solid. Pickens is a rookie. We don't know if he's any good or not. He's got some talent, but it's not like he was a first-round pick or anything. We'll see what he is. But even their tight end, kind of under the radar, Pat Freiermuth from Penn State, right? He was good as a rookie last year. And you don't see, even the best tight ends, you don't see, like, tight ends make an impact as a rookie. Very rare.
Yeah.
And even the good ones.
It takes a minute. Canada can't go out and get groceries or food, or he can't show his face in Pittsburgh.
I mean, he's got.
Because the offense, they're not used to seeing the offense being 29th, 30th, 31st
Well, they've been
in different
categories.
What, though?
The last couple of years, they have not been a good running team.
They would
because their offensive line's been bad.
I know that folks were looking at Ben saying it's time.
Yeah.
If they could push a go back button and have Ben from last year, they'd take that over what they're getting.
Yeah, I mean, Ben stunk last year.
He was better than this. They weren't ranked 29th in offense. And Ben,
I don't know. That's the stretch right there.
Ben was on the field.
Bill was bad.
When Ben was on the field, though, you always felt like if the game was close, he's going to do something.
But he
He's
couldn't
gonna
throw
do
down the
something.
field at all. I mean, I guess it's better than Trubisky,
What was
but
their
not
record?
much.
What they finish last year? 9-8.
9-8, I think.
Okay.
But listen,
Well, they're 1-1 right now.
all they got to do.
I mean,
I know that's right. I guess that's who they
They're
are.
gonna have to get a Max Pros looks to buy the quarterback some time to let these routes develop.
What's funny is Trubisky suddenly became this hot commodity in the offseason.
For what reason, I have no idea.
Spent 1
Because
year
he
in
sat
Buffalo.
on the bench behind Josh Allen.
Spent 1 year in
makes
Buffalo
sense.
and sort of was cleansed.
Is he that bad, though, Jason?
I don't know.
I cannot
It's
think
because
he
was
is this bad.
It's a first round talent. I mean,
But what should
I
he
know
have been?
it doesn't
He had
matter.
one
He
year-
went.
He had 1 year in college that he was
He,
good.
and was the,
Yeah,
and
he
was
was
the first.
He made a Pro Bowl in
He
Chicago.
was first quarterback
that's-
taken.
he
wasn't
did
it?
have-
Wait a second.
He did have a good year
By
in
the
Chicago.
time you get the guys dropping out of the Pro Bowl, you have like 9 guys that are Pro Bowl
If
quarterbacks.
I
you
agree
look
with
at his
that.
stats, he had
They
a
were
good
okay.
year.
He
They
was
were a hell of a lot
okay.
better than they are now.
He was the first
And you know what?
quarterback
Here's what
drafted.
came to mind
Yeah,
when I
big
was
draft.
watching them
'Cause
struggle
he went after
offensively on
Myles
Sunday.
Garrett.
I'm comparing the talent he has now to the mess that he had in Chicago.
Right.
And it's not that different. I mean, he has more talent here
it's
in
better.
Pittsburgh, but his
Yeah.
line is atrocious. If you're going to look at one group
They got a Max
and
Pro.
try to figure out why they're 29th and 31st and all these different offensive categories, I'm pointing at the offensive line because
Yeah, but
they're
you
not
can't-
doing anything.
But you know what? Again, it's off to a bad start this year. But the Bengals had the worst offensive line in the league last year, and the Bengals' offense was great. So
Before we finish this topic, can you
Yeah.
please say something good about him? Because last week you dumped all over Joe Flacco, and he came in here and looked like
about Mitch Trubisky,
name it. Yeah.
he's a good athlete.
Okay,
I
good.
mean,
Okay.
that's something that they haven't really taken advantage of.
I just want to hear something positive. Because last week we killed Joe Flacco. We sat here and we're like,
Yeah.
Joe Flacco, we're going to win 100-0.
I mean, he got some mobility. That's always
Joe
a concern.
Flacco didn't play well because we said anything about him. He played well because the Browns had breakdowns in coverages.
He made plays, though.
He
You
made
can't take
plays.
that
He
away
made
from
great
him.
plays.
This is a vet, and he's still got a
He
great
made-
arm.
well,
I mean,
he made plays.
And
He
you know
did.
what?
I
As
give
I'm
him
watching
credit.
him, I'm thinking, okay, he's 37 or whatever, but he made plays when the
Yeah.
Browns left doors open.
Trubisky, they should use his athletic ability. He's a good runner.
What do you want to go to? You want to do internet reaction here?
We got to do the internet reactions. Let's just pull up this VO here first, just so you guys see Mitch Trubisky's ranks in the NFL. I know
Okay.
we put this up a second ago, but
I mean,
I
it's two
love-
games.
Yeah,
but
no,
29th in
yeah.
passing, 31st in yards per attempt, 28th in
I
longest
think
pass.
Roethlisberger had those same numbers last year, I bet.
Oh, I don't think so. I
But
mean,
I
Ben
put
was
that
not
up there
that bad.
because it plays into our question. And whenever we bring you a question from the internet, it's brought to us by PCC Air Force. So before we see the question, let's tell you about our good friends at PCC. Are you looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Mentor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more.
Very good.
I got nothing for you today, buddy.
We're out. No Billy Joel songs?
No, but I did get a text.
Uptown Girl?
No, not today.
Nothing.
I did get a text from my PT who said, we may have to change some of your treatment if you're thinking of sprinting again.
Oh,
Yeah, I bet.
They're watching.
Yeah, he's watching. He's watching the show. Shout out Dr. DiFilippo.
All right, so
Okay, so on your Chad Johnson,
Yes.
you tweeted me, can we
Yeah.
get him at the airport? Because he tweeted out, yo, can someone pick me up?
Chad
needs a ride.
Tomorrow. It's
He
coming
needs
ti-
a ride. I got him, yeah.
Yeah, so I immediately texted him back. I actually texted him earlier this week, so we were talking, and I texted him again, or tweeted him again. I said, hey, do you need a ride? He said, Jay, what's good, boss? EA is picking me up, so he must be here for an EA event. They won't let me get a ride. I can't imagine why not. Got a production meeting, then have to be on field by 6. I'm going to ask for him for Friday. Are we good for that?
That's awesome.
Okay, because I'd love to have him here for Friday. He'd be good. He'd be good to have in after a Browns Steelers game.
He was
Tell-
one of my favorite players.
Tell him I'll pick him up.
Dude, Chad.
Loved him.
Easy like
Yeah,
that.
Chad was
But all
my
right, so
idol.
real quick, last week our internet question was, let's take it, Steve.
By the way, before you say that, Mikey, I'm sorry. Ben Roethlisberger, 25th out of 31 quarterbacks in QBR last year.
Thank you.
Well, was he?
25 out of 31 in QBR.
Okay, it's not 29th.
Earl, you could get in position now. We'll have Earl set up for Tyvus's breakdown in a sec.
Yeah.
But last week, no one said they were scared of Joe Flacco. He went on to throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. So with that in mind, Is the internet scared of Mitch Trubisky at
That's
all?
embarrassing if you're scared of Mitch Trubisky. Even after Flacco's game, it's embarrassing if you're scared of Flacco.
Let's see the answers.
Well, we weren't scared. We weren't scared of Flacco.
We shouldn't have been.
Yes, we should have been.
This is Steven Walker.
That's a good one.
That is great.
That's good.
Next one.
Make it big, so
With the way our secondary is played, I'm scared of any and everybody. That's from Mike. Let's go to number 3.
it's too big.
It's fair to be.
And lastly, if the NFL doesn't ban the forward pass by Thursday, I
Get
am
out of your
terrified.
fears, people. Get out of your fears.
So that's what the internet's saying. They
Mitch
are.
Trubisky stinks, and once again, there's no excuse for the Browns.
Does
losing
Baker
this game.
stink?
Baker's average.
Does Flacco stink?
Yes, he does.
Proof's in the pudding.
No, proof he played one good game. Even bad players play good games
But
now
he
and
played.
again.
They both played one good game, and they both played one bad
Baker
game.
did not play a good game.
I mean, he scored 17 points in the fourth quarter and gave his team the lead with a minute
He
to
did
go.
not play. No, the field
Hold
goal
on,
kicker
and we
gave
have
the team the
15
lead.
minutes to get to Tyvus's break.
Yeah,
I
I'm not
will
on-
not
yeah,
let's
we're
talk
not
about that.
relitigating Baker Mayfield.
By the way,
Putting the
Baker's-
hammer down.
Baker's
Thank you,
lowest
Mike.
PFF
We're
grade in the
stopping.
league.
We're stopping. We're no
Lowest
Baker talk.
PFF grade in the league.
Stop!
Stop it.
Latest.
Tired of
Who cares?
Baker.
Latest.
Go.
Tyvus, the
Jason.
floor
Last.
is yours.
Last.
Break it
Last.
down for us. This is Coach Tyvus
Wait,
on the
is
whiteboard.
Earl like our
explaining.
human?
He's the easel.
He's our human.
This is very awkward.
He's a tripod.
This is very awkward.
All right.
It's his UCSS
You said it. I did.
Listen, we don't have it in the
think you meant
budget. All right.
Oh my God. this
So
is
what
awkward.
happened? This was the formation that we got, and what I've learned.
What
is,
play are you diagramming right
This
now?
is the
The sep-
66-yard or
Okay.
whatever.
Corey Davis played
Corey
at the
Davis.
end.
All right. So this is what it is. Boom.
Lift it up just a little bit.
Hold on. Boom. Right. Nickel. Corner. Free safety. Strong safety. Okay. So this is the confusion right here. When you look at this formation, some people say, "Oh, that's empty." And what I've learned is that they have a check for empty. So when they see empty, Denzel thinks it's cover 2. So they're playing cloud backside.
So that's Denzel.
that would be
obviously.
Denzel.
Folks don't know. They might not know what cloud means.
Cloud is cover 2. I just said that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But when you look at this formation, everybody else looks at it as these two are grave diggers. So these is 2 tight ends. This is a max pro look.
So is that a true empty or not?
No, they're not playing it like that.
But it
because
looks like it.
It looks like it. But they're not playing it that way because these 2 are grave diggers. They're not going up the field. They're
it.
literally here to block and then do a little release to the flats. So everybody else read it like, oh, it's just 2 by 1. Denzel looked at it like it's empty. So that's why he played what he played. Everybody else played cover 3. Buzzer. He should be in the 3rd, and he's a hook dropper. He's a hook dropper. So if it's played correctly, when Corey Davis runs this route,
Denzel stays with him.
Denzel takes it with him. And everybody's like, well, what is Dale Pitt supposed to do? Dale Pitt is a hook dropper. He's looking for this deep over route right here. So everybody played the same thing but Denzel. Denzel was the only one who played cover 2. And he should have realized that it wasn't cover 2 when he seen JOK flying out to the flats to pick that up. So that's how
Tyvus.
that's when I knew something was wrong.
So there's 2 problems here. One, Denzel Ward wasn't able to diagnose the play, essentially. Or
Well, he misdiagnosed it.
He misdiagnosed
He misdiagnosed
the coverage.
the play, yes.
And they failed to communicate to him
Exactly. So
what they were in.
So like I say, if they all say, "Hey, we cover 3, cover 3, cover 3, cover 3,"
telephone
this
game.
is not even a play because he would know that everybody else is in cover 3. Well, he comes out and he says that he felt like he did nothing wrong. Well, maybe if it was empty, then he would be correct. But if 10 guys is playing a coverage and he's the one that's not, you have to say that he's the one that's not doing it correctly. So that's what happened on that.
Then why didn't he own that?
My name is Tyvus Powell.
You know what bothers me just not say anything.
Maybe because in theory, maybe look at this. Maybe the empty check. The look was cover 2, maybe, and everybody
he's the
else
only one that got it right.
He played it right, and everybody
Highly
else got it
unlikely,
wrong.
but possible.
Right.
You know what bothered me about that is that he jogged after he was jogging.
never
on the
hustled.
field. He wasn't even
Because
sprinting.
if it's truly cover 2,
He
thinks
thinks that Delpit-
I'm staying under this and he's
He
going to be
thinks
over the
Delpit
top.
has- yeah.
I just need to be underneath the 7 cut if he runs a 7. So that's why he played it the way he played it.
Tyvus, is the more egregious error the misread by Denzel Ward or the misdiagnosis by Denzel Ward or the lack of communication?
The lack of communication. Because if it's the communication, communication. This is not
It's
even.
cleared up.
It's
Someone
not even a
tells
play.
him, no.
Listen, listen, 3-3-3-3. If he knows it's 3, it's no play. Where they gonna go with the ball?
Yeah, everything's covered.
Exactly. So that's that one. Boom. We got the answer.
By the way, Tyvis, that's
Did you need that?
excellent
Oh,
insight.
okay,
No,
okay.
that's excellent insight.
All right.
Let's give Earl a shout out too. By the way,
Earl's doing a hell of a job as an easel. Earl is our human
Are you
easel.
doing the
and he's
Brees Hall
killing it.
touchdown
Yeah,
now?
we can do Brees Hall.
This is the
Well,
Brees Hall
Tyvis is drawing this up just so you guys know. We are working on getting the iPad as a source into vMix.
Oh, great.
So we could draw on the iPad, so we're not using Earl.
Even
It's
better.
just,
Tripod.
week by week.
There's
How
Earl the
about Earl
tripod.
making his UCSS debut today?
What up, Earl?
What's up?
Earl's big behind the scenes. Big behind the scenes.
All right, so this one is really
You're
simple.
getting union rate for this, right?
This one,
yes, sir.
Oh, I thought so.
Yeah.
this one is very, very simple.
This is the touchdown before the half.
Yeah, this is the
This is the
one.
Brees Hall touchdown, correct,
Yeah.
Tyvis?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. The only thing about this one that I don't agree with is that they did have they took a lineman out and put a bandit in, and I know why they did it because earlier in the game, Garrett Wilson ran this under route and then wheeled it up, so they was putting
Bandit is the third safety.
third safety. Yeah, they ran this. He ran this over route, then wheeled it up, and he was wide open, but Flacco threw it behind him. But that's has nothing to do with this. So when I originally looked at this play, I'm like, oh, they ain't cover 2 because Denzel is pressing this outside pad, and this dude is staying inside, and this guy's staying on the inside piece. So I'm like, okay, then he should take the flats. But he didn't. He missed it because he was too busy reroute. But as I did some research, I found out that they actually are in quarters in this. So what happened is he technically should be off. I've never been a fan of pressing in the red zone. But he should be playing off. But
And so why would he play off? Because he has such a small area to cover.
Yeah, it deters the fade. You want
Right.
a quarterback see a player, he ain't gonna throw the fade. So, and he got this inside piece anyway. So when he pressed, he thought that they was in something else. He thought that they was in cover 2. JOK. He thought that they was in cover 2.
Right.
So he's thinking, oh, he got the flats, I'm gonna stay inside. Well, his technique technically in this quarters concept is that he is supposed to stay inside, and unless 2 goes to the flat, he goes out to get 2. He completely didn't do that. He just literally stayed inside, and that's what happened. He just JOK bust. So that's why he comes out and say, it was my fault.
He, unlike
pitch and
Ward,
catch.
took accountability.
Yeah, he was supposed to stay inside. If this guy stays in like this, he stays as an inside piece. But once he goes to the flat, he has to go.
And
take
yes,
it.
JOK
And this
owned
guy-
that.
He did own that. But
And
Tyvis,
Dale
here's what I
Pitt
understand.
stays inside, he stays outside. So it's essentially 2-on-1 on the receiver.
Got
What's confusing to me is Anthony, the middle linebacker.
Walker.
Couldn't think of his last name. He's right next to JOK. He's got the green dot. How do they not communicate that there?
Well, I don't think like I said, I think he knew the call, but I think he was
misread.
was
In
confused.
his case, it's just a misdiagnosis.
Yeah, he was confused by him being right here pressing.
So how would you simplify that?
How would
play?
I simplify this play?
Yeah.
Make him play off and make sure that he knows that he got his guy to the flats.
Okay.
As simple as that.
Again, it's communication.
Exactly.
You have to talk that out.
If he's playing off, he doesn't think that his dude he got the flats. He would
Right.
think, oh, them two got that dude.
So
double
he was
team.
confused because of how
Denzel
Denzel Ward
was
lined up.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, and then let me see. All right, now the last touchdown play,
Okay.
the
yeah.
Garrett Wilson.
This is a good one.
You see how simple this sounds? Like it,
Yeah.
You're breaking it down and
it's
making it sound simple.
because
but
it is.
But you have a split
It
second.
is, but it's
you have a
happening
split
in
second.
real time. It's like it's so fast.
And as
Tyvis.
David Blatt once said,
Yeah.
it's like a fighter pilot with all the decisions we have to make.
It really,
Yeah,
it
I
really
mean,
is not as hard as y'all.
This one,
think it is.
Delpit has the screw up here, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
this one on Dale Pitt.
Yeah.
Everybody been waiting on him, so this if y'all want to grill him, this is the one that you want to grill him for.
Yeah.
Tyvis, which play is this again?
This is the game-winning
Game-winning
touchdown.
This the Brees Hall.
Yeah.
I mean, not
Where-
the Garrett Wilson touchdown.
Touchdown.
at the end.
At the end of
Delpit
the
was
game.
backing up.
Yeah. So we got this. We got that.
Why don't you
That guy.
note the goal line?
We'll call that the goal line.
Yeah.
Right? All right, so they run in cover 2. And when you run cover 2, as a safety, I've been fortunate enough to play safety in this, so I know. The first thing that they teach you day one is you don't back up you put your heels on the goal line and you don't back up in there. You let the route take you into the end zone, okay? So Dale Pitt should start right here on this goal line, And when the ball is snapped, don't move. You literally let this route develop, and you just play underneath the route as it goes in the end zone. Well, if you go back and watch it, Dale Pitt backs up. Just as soon as the ball is snapped, he backs up.
Safety should never do.
Never. You never back up. Garrett Wilson runs a bender route. JOK is trying to stop it. Gap happens. He throws a peel right there between two defenders because he's a hook. He's gone. He's a hook, and he's got that. So this right here, if Dale Pitt doesn't back up, he's closer to the coverage, and he's there to make a play on the ball. He backed up, left a gap.
Gave him space.
Boom, threw it right in there for a touchdown.
That's stealing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you run it that way, you're going to give up a touchdown every time.
I was talking to Sherm about this after the play happened, and I was saying the best thing that happened for the Jets is that this was Joe Flacco. Because if this Zach Wilson, he would have never threw that ball. Only a veteran knows that I'm going to have this little gap right here.
Yes. Right.
And he seen that safety back up, and he fired it in there. It was a perfect ball.
Here, can you
So he made the decision essentially to throw to that man,
Wilson.
Wilson. Jeez,
Yeah.
my brain is not firing.
Can you get a
Is the
tight shot
second
on
the
my
safety
phone?
backed up, right?
Steve, can you
Second
do
the
that?
safety
Can you get a
backed
tight
up.
shot on my
He
phone?
decided to go there.
We cannot play a video. It's
It's not a
it's
video.
just
It's
a
still.
freeze.
It's a
It's
still.
just
It's
a
a
still.
freeze. I want to show you where Delpit is. Ty, you can point out on that. It's a little blurry, but if they get a tight shot, you can
right
see
there.
where Tyvus
Right.
is.
Already
I'm
there.
sorry,
Literally
where
like
Delpit
two
is
yards deep in there
for
and
no
it's
reason.
No reason.
Absolutely
He's already
no
beat
reason.
there.
Exactly.
I
No
mean-
reason. So that's what happened on that play. Now, the one that grinds my gears more than all of these plays is this kick, this onside kick. I
Oh, my
cannot
gosh.
believe it. I cannot believe it. It's been on my mind.
And
Tyvus
you
showed
played
us
special teams a lot.
Yeah, yes.
And
I
he
did.
showed us the video,
Oh, my
and what he's going to
goodness.
explain here was dead on. I mean, this was a major disaster. There's no reason this should have ever happened.
And by the way, as you're writing this up, isn't this strictly a coaching thing?
Yes.
Like, I know Prefer gets a lot of love as a special teams coach. He's heretofore thought he was great. I don't know what happened
I
here.
don't know. I
All
think he's been awful.
So listen, this how they came out. All right. Now, like I said, I've been on hands teams, so I know how it goes. The most dangerous people on hands teams is the guys on the outside. I would say these three guys.
Why is that?
Because they have free access to the ball.
Okay.
The kicker is literally kicking them the ball. He want to high hop it and kick it to him so he can run and jump and go get it.
They're the guys that can recover it.
Exactly. So what you have to do is you have to block him, and you have to make him run the hump. By the time he runs the hump, he done been caught the ball and
Yeah,
this
it's
secure
too
is
late.
over
He
with.
gets
Here's
there too late.
here's a still of the
Right.
of the start of the play. I don't know if you want it. It's there if you want it.
I don't need it. Boom. So that's what happened right there.
Now,
the problem.
talk about the one that's most important to block. I know you
this
said
one,
all
this,
three
this
of those
guy
guys.
right here, you have
He must
to
be
block
blocked.
him. He has to be blocked
Yeah.
because he is the one that they're trying to get the ball to. Well, if you go watch the tape, this is JOK. JOK blocks this guy. He
That's
blocks
crazy.
him. He blocks him. So this guy got the free access. The time Amari Cooper gets to the ball, he's already diving on it to make the play. So
He
it's-
gets to it before
Exactly.
the ball
So,
gets to
so
Hooper.
that's why he ended up making the play on the ball. But if this guy gets blocked, this is no play. You literally have to make the last guy because he has to run the hoop and he'll never get there.
Why
So
on earth
that-
would JOK have done that?
I have no idea. But that right there was the most frustrating play that I seen on Sunday. That right there. That is one-on-one. Like, I don't understand why they did that. I don't. That right there, if you want to talk about somebody that needs to be fired, you can't keep doing that. You can't put nothing like that. That is football one-on-one. You have to
That
block
play has a
number one.
what % chance of being successful? Isn't it 4?
If it's blocked correctly?
No. Statistically in the
Oh,
NFL,
4%
it's like
of
4%.
since the
Yeah.
rule change, that play is successful
Yeah.
4% of the
So
time.
when I seen this happen, I knew the game was over right then and there because that just does not happen. It's so demoralizing to give up an onside kick. But those
Okay,
four
so
plays
I
right
asked
there.
you what's Kevin Stefanski been doing the last 72 hours.
That-
What's Mike Prefer been doing the last 72
He
hours?
better got this fixed because it might not happen again this season. But if it does, if this guy is not blocked,
How often do you?
it's
How often-
almost laughable that they left this man unblocked.
and I don't know the answer. I don't know if JOK is up here on the normal kickoff team or not. But on hands team, how often are you drilling hands team onside kick?
You do that the day before the game. They come
every game.
Yeah, you do it like
So there's no excuse.
They call it a hands team. You come out and they come kick it, make you do the onside kick. It's actually on Fridays. You kick it, you go through all 4 phases of special teams and onside kick.
You know
they
what
kick it, you secure it, make sure everybody's blocked, and go boom.
It feels like it's baseball's version of the pitcher coming over to cover first base.
Thanks, Earl.
You do it so many times. They work on that in spring training.
Yeah, it was great.
Just to kind of refresh everybody, but they don't work on that during the season. This is something that by now everybody that's involved in that play knows what's going on. That's why it's so inexplicable.
You know, it's too bad that Tyvus wasn't at the press conference yesterday when JOK spoke, because I'm sure none of the media members asked him about that onside kick.
No.
Because that's something that most of us would not have picked up on. That for him, it was obvious. For the rest of us, we weren't we're not thinking, oh, that guy's got to pick up that guy.
Right.
When he explains it to us,
It looks like it's on Amari. It looks like it's on Amari.
Right.
When you watch
It seems so obvious.
Amari could have done things that would have.
Amari was probably shocked that the dude was right there. Like, wow, like ain't nobody gonna touch him.
Right.
Plus, in terms of running up, they always tell you, right? You don't want to touch the ball within 10 yards.
Right.
But you can't.
That's why they do the hop. They do the hop to get it in the air.
And get the defenders
guy
got
got
to
to think about this. But if you don't block him, like if the guy's waiting for it to come down, the jumper's going to run and jump and go get it.
I wish somebody would ask JOK yesterday, what happened on that play? Like, how did you not pick that guy up?
Also, you got to be the hammer, not the nail. You got to give the contact, not try to just take it.
Yeah, don't take it.
Yeah.
All right, McNuggets, Robert Smith's ready?
Robert Smith's ready. Before we take Robert, I got one quick little nugget I want to tell y'all.
Okay.
Braden Mann, the guy who kicked that punt, onside kick, and threw that pass, went to A&M, and we used to see him throwing around in the practice facility all the time. He's practiced 1 million onside kicks. That was like the worst one he ever kicked. And
it wasn't even that good an onside
No, it wasn't
kick.
a great onside kick.
That's the crazy part.
You didn't get that traditional high hop that you want.
Yep.
It looked like it was 100%
I thought it was
recoverable.
good because he split JOK and David Bell
The
on the
placement
front
was
line.
good.
Yeah, the placement is great.
But he didn't get the high bounce that makes it
you
highly
want the
recoverable.
hop.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And with that, we do have the Euclid High School alum, the second Euclid High School alum on the show with Director Steve, Robert Smith.
Robert, what's your thumbnail on what the hell happened on Sunday? I mean, I know it might take you 10 minutes to unload, but where are you?
I mean, you guys are gluttons for punishment, man. There's a game tomorrow night. Like, let's move on. Seriously.
that
you know
deserves a
what's
full
crazy?
autopsy.
I'm over it, Robert. I said my piece. I broke it down for everybody. I'm good.
We didn't have Tyvus until today.
I was over it after 24 hours.
That's why we're doing it
I
all
got
today.
you. Well, that was the first of all, that was a flat ball that he kicked, though, wasn't it? That's
was.
They have a new style of kicking the onside kicks where they kick that spinner like that because it's just so hard to handle the ball. But you got to teach somebody on the side. And I know you're talking about somebody make the hit, but if that ball gets to you and you're on that hands team and you're that close to the sideline, knock that thing out of bounds.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's it.
You know, and that's game over right there. I mean, and it's so crazy. I saw or I heard the stat during the game or after the game that had been some more than 2,000 games since a team had given up the lead with less than 2 minutes. And I apologize for laughing. I had no idea that it was the Browns that did it back in 2001, the last time. And it just a gut punch, to put it kindly, right? Like we can think of much worse ways to phrase that. But I just felt so bad for the team to lose that way with everything that the Browns have been through for years and years. For a game to end like that, you just got to say, I mean, of course, right? Like it had to end that way. What other way could it possibly end?
Robert, you're right with the of course. Every time we say that's the most Browns thing ever, it gets topped. Sunday was the most Browns thing ever. And yet, you know what? In 24 hours from now, the Muni lot, which is about 200 yards behind where we're sitting right now, will be jam-packed with people on a weekday hydrating themselves to get ready to go into the stadium and root their lungs out for this football team. That's, you're from here. You know what the makeup of these fans are. We are gluttons for punishment. We'll be right back there Thursday thinking that was a one-off. Tonight's our night.
Yeah, well, but here's the thing. You know, the short week, even though for players, sometimes it can be difficult just because you're a little bit banged up and you have less time to recover. When it's a situation like this and there's a game like that you want to get over, this is the best way to do it, right? You have to be on that short week schedule. Forget about what happened the week before and just get ready to play.
Robert, what's the biggest challenge with a Thursday night game? I know players hate them.
Well, it's just a quick turnaround. I always liked them. I liked them because you didn't like we didn't have the normal Wednesday type practice where you got 9-on-7 and all the pads and everything like that. So the weeks were a little bit shorter, mostly just kind of walk through stuff. And if you're banged up, obviously you don't like it because you have to turn around so quickly. But it just was. I always liked the Thursday night games, and the install is a little bit quicker for people that are trying to make some changes and adjustments. So for younger players, sometimes it can be more difficult. But I always liked Thursday night games because it just meant that we were going to get right back at it sooner. And then after you're done with that game, you get a nice little break. Sometimes you can even go home and watch your college team play.
Robert, what you think of your Buckeyes, man? Was you happy with the 77? Are you concerned about the defense? I got my own concerns. How you feel about it?
Yeah, and I think we heard from Jim Knowles afterwards. Like he's expecting, he kind of builds it in that with the aggressive style that they played defensively, that they're going to be giving up some big plays. I think the thing that if you're looking at it position by position, Burke again struggled. Coming off of the freshman campaign that was so solid, everybody expected, much different things this year. But it's the time to be doing it, right? Before you get into Big Ten play, and you want to kind of make those mistakes at 100 miles an hour. And I think you know this as a defensive player, and even as an offensive player. I had coaches tell me all the time, either be right or be wrong, but be decisive, right? So you want to try and get guys making aggressive mistakes. But it just, in his case, it just seems like, whether it's a technique thing from time to time, just tracking the ball from time to time, those have been some struggles. And, Finn's probably he's the best quarterback, or at least the most athletic quarterback, probably that the team's going to play throughout the regular season. So not making any excuses, but, you saw him on that 23-yard run. You had guys in position just diving at his feet. And I heard Knowles talking about the players diving at his feet and saying, you got to take those few extra steps. But that guy was just gone. He was quick.
He was.
Buckeyes actually have a real opponent this week, Robert. Played, Wisconsin in conference for the first time this year. What are your expectations for this? I mean, Wisconsin's always tough. I know the spread's 17. But I feel like Wisconsin's always tough. I don't know. I haven't seen them. I haven't seen them play.
Always tough. And even back when I played, and it was really, as Barry Alvarez was just taking over and really turning that program around. I remember we lost there in '92, and that place is just a hornet's nest, right? This is before Jump Around even came into the into the stadium experience. It's always tough. You got one of the best offensive lines, if not the best offensive line in the country. And, you just expect a physical style of football out of them. But, obviously they've already lost to Washington State, but they didn't give up a whole lot of yards in that game. So I think defensively, you can expect what we've seen in the past out of Jim Leonard, the defensive coordinator in this defense. I think they're going to play stout defensively. I just don't think that they have the athletes to keep up with the stable of wide receivers. And how impressive was that? I mean, getting Fleming back, man, that one catch he had,
God.
Fingertips, like catching the edges of the ball, man. And Marvin Harrison, it just looked better and better. And of course, Igbuka and Jackson Smith and Jigba back and healthy and into the lineup. I mean, there's just too much firepower offensively.
And some of the throws that Stroud made. There were two balls that I can think of. One was for a touchdown that actually were caught out of bounds.
Yeah.
The receiver's hands were out of bounds. He was putting the ball, Robert, where only his guy could catch it, and he was doing it on throws of some distance downfield.
Yep.
His accuracy was incredible. At one point, I think he was 18 of 20, and when he threw his next incompletion, you could tell he was furious with himself. He doesn't want to throw any incompletions.
Yeah, and that's great coaching. And, now calling NFL games as opposed to college games, that's something that really stands out. I mean, the athletes are just so much better defensively. The windows are so small, and ball placement becomes that much more important for the quarterbacks. And C.J. Stroud has clearly been working on that. It's not just put it on the numbers; it's put it, as you say, exactly where it needs to be. If it's going to be away from the defender, away from the leverage, but pinpoint accuracy and a high level of expectations. The expectations that people have outside are never going to be higher than you have for yourself.
Hey, Robert,
where you been, Jay?
Wait, Robert. Jay had to go to the bathroom. He couldn't make it. He only made it an hour.
I'm glad.
Had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the show.
Yes.
Hey, would you have Taco Bell for lunch?
An old man.
Oh my God.
Robert Smith has a question for you. Go ahead, Robert.
I can't hear. Hang on.
Did you have Taco Bell for lunch? What's up, man?
That was a border run.
I mean, my God.
Normally,
Jay and I are older than you. We never go during the show.
I actually did one. Like, a couple weeks ago, it was Jason.
Yes!
Jason was doing a final take.
Oh, yeah.
he like army crawled under the.
And I go, I got this. Jason's not going to go long. And about 3 minutes into it, it's 1 o'clock. I mean, we were sitting here 2 hours, no commercials, and I sucked out 2 Gatorades during the show. I literally hit the floor and army crawled under the camera.
Under the camera.
I had to.
Wait a minute. Let me say this.
You did
This
it.
all started with Ty.
I'm going to take the blame because I did start this.
You're the first one that ever did it.
I have done it twice.
Robert, it's tough, man. You're sitting here for 2 hours.
2 hours,
man.
no bathroom break.
Yeah.
I will say the only 2 people who have not had to do that.
Bull and G. Bush.
3. Bull, G. Bush, and Steve Curran. Steve Curran could go 15
Didn't
hours.
I do it
if
once?
he
I
had
didn't
to.
do it once. I thought I did.
Maybe you did.
Normally it hits me like 12:20, and I
not.
can squirm in the chair long enough to make it to 1.
Robert,
Today there is
Isn't that
no
a terrible
way.
feeling, though? You're looking at the clock.
Let
It's
me
like,
ask you,
I wish
Robert,
all y'all would shut up so we get on the
let me
show.
ask both Robert and Tyvis this, for both of you. When you played your first Big Ten game of the season, or even more importantly, as a freshman, or if you're a redshirt sophomore, whatever, when you played your first Big Ten game ever, did it mean a little more than the other games, even if you'd played a good opponent before, or no?
Well, for
both
me, as a freshman at Ohio State, it was just kind of getting used to playing big time football. And I've told you guys before, but, didn't really grow up as a big college football fan. Quite frankly, I wasn't watching a lot of the games, and to me, all the games were big. But it was our third game of the season that was a kind of a big one for me too, because we were playing against USC. And USC had been my second choice of schools. So playing against the team that you had turned down, that was kind of a big one. But, yeah, the Big Ten games mattered. But when you're a freshman, all those games matter.
For me, the Big Ten games, they had a little bit more weight because it's your conference play. These matter, and you always wanted to get to the Big Ten championship game. So, yeah, I think they held a little bit more weight. I think my first one, we opened up against Wisconsin, and I was playing nickel. I was a red shirt freshman, so I was playing nickel. And, obviously they don't run a lot of 11 personnel. So my snaps was limited that game, Yeah.
Robert, when you look ahead for the back to the Browns now, when you look ahead for the Browns, it's a short week. Yeah, they've got a lot of things to fix and to clean up. But the Steelers obviously haven't been world beaters. They're very much like us.
Right.
They could be 2-0. They could be 0-2. They both sit here at 1-1. How do you see this football game playing out, and what are your thoughts on Mitch Trubisky so far?
Yeah, Mitch has always been inconsistent, right? I mean, that's kind of what we've seen, except maybe when he was playing at Menor out there. But for me, it's not Mitch Trubisky that's the problem. It's the offensive line that's been a real problem. I mean, you look at Najee Harris on the season, averaging less than 3 yards a carry. That's not Steeler football. So it's not just Mitch Trubisky. He was sacked 3 times in the game against New England, sacked once in the opener, and that can be a real problem. Now, I know Clowney is going to be out, and Myles Garrett has the neck. I assume that he's going to play. But I expect the Browns to get after Mitch Trubisky really well. They're going to be able to shut down that run, I believe, because that offensive line, again, has just struggled. And, they thought that, bringing in Mason Cole at center, bringing in, his experience along with their right guard that's got a lot of experience. As a matter of fact, those 2 guys had more starts coming into the season than the rest of the offensive line combined for the Steelers. But It takes a while for offensive lines to gel, and it's the most important thing for any offense to operate is for an offensive line to gel, to see things the same way. So as long as Jacoby Brissett and this offense take care of the football, I think the Browns come out with a victory.
All right, well, we like to hear that. Robert, as always, thanks for joining us. Great insight. Are you working a game this weekend, or are you off?
No, I'm working a game. We have Atlanta at Seattle. So I'm excited. I'm excited. And both of them coming off losses, frustrated. So it'll be fun. And always it's always great to get up to the Pacific Northwest, too. It's beautiful up there before the rain season starts.
Yes, it really is. And I'm glad you're actually working that because obviously the next opponent for the Browns is Atlanta, so you'll have a great scouting report for us ahead of the Browns-Falcons game. And hopefully we're talking about them trying to get to 3-1. So have a great call and enjoy the game. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things real quick that I didn't even realize until I was, looking up some background information on Pete Carroll is that he was at Ohio State back in 1979.
I don't think I knew that either.
I didn't know that either.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, and he just seems like such a fun guy, and obviously followed his career both as a coach, back when I was playing, and now as an analyst, and it's gonna be a fun one. They've got their work cut out for them this game and for the rest of the season, but it's always fun to meet coaches like that have such great careers.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Robert.
Robert, have a good game. We'll talk to you next week.
Go Bucks.
Okay, guys.
Robert Smith with us on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And so we talk about getting a scouting report. One of the things that we really want to do on the program is try to hear from somebody in the media who covers the Browns' opponent that week. And Brooke Pryor is the ESPN Steelers reporter. And Brooke joins us now on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Brooke, thanks so much for joining us. It's easy to dismiss an opponent when you're looking at matchups and all of that. But I say about this game, it is a rivalry, and the cliche, throw the records out the window. They both want this one just as badly as the other. How is this Steelers team internally? Because it almost looks from the outside looking in that they could be a little bit wounded, like this Browns team. They had some miscommunication. They haven't played well. They've had a little bit of conflict and turmoil already internally. Where are they as they get ready to come to Cleveland tomorrow?
Yeah, I think that this locker room's in a really interesting place. I mean, even after the loss last week, there was frustration on both sides of the ball, which was a totally different locker room than we saw after they beat the Bengals, when I think there was a lot of relief. But, I mean, the defense felt great about how they played in that game. But at the same time, TJ Watt was injured. And so it's been kind of maybe unsettling is the right word for this team, and how they're feeling in the locker room. To me, it's interesting because I felt like I had been transported back to 2021 when we were talking with Mitch Trubisky yesterday. The questions that were being asked, hey, can you go up tempo in your offense earlier? Do you have the power to audible? Do you think that going up tempo would help? Because when you guys were at the end of the third quarter, you mixed in some tempo offense, and that seemed to help. These are all the same questions that we were asking Ben Roethlisberger and Matt Canada a year ago. And so to me, that points to there's some issues with the play calling. Talking with players this week, they're all saying, they're saying this is not on Mitch. There are some other things that have to happen to get this offense going.
Brooke, I hate to do woulda, shoulda, coulda, but I'm going to do it. If the Bengals long snapper doesn't get hurt, the Steelers are 0-2. Fair? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't get hurt.
Yes, yeah.
The Bengals win that game, and the Steelers are 0-2. One thing that I think, maybe the Steelers' offensive line will eventually be better, but I think we're also seeing this in Cincinnati. You may add more talent. The Bengals added veteran talent on the offensive line, the Steelers' younger talent. But the offensive line, more than any other position, takes time to gel, right? You got new faces. Bengals have 4 new starters. Steelers have some new starters, too. That's maybe they'll get better, but right now their offensive line is a mess. And
although it's funny,
right?
At the same time, though, their offensive line is a mess, but they're playing better than they looked in the preseason.
Okay.
To me, that's significant. Mitch Trubisky only has a handful of sacks at this point.
Right. So so then you talk about the miscommunication. Is it on the coach? Is it Trubisky not good enough? Is the game plan too conservative? Is Najee Harris overrated? Why did everybody draft, what's his name, the wide receiver? I can't think of anybody's name.
Deontay Johnson?
No, Pickens.
George
Why did
Pickens?
everybody draft Pickens in fantasy leagues when he hasn't done anything? What do you make of it all? I gave you 8 questions.
Hey, it's me.
You want to answer?
Let me see if I can work my way through that.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'll say I'm one of those people who drafted George Pickens in my fantasy league,
So am I.
and he is at the very bottom of my bench. I think, unfortunately, I really wish that I could tell you I found a diamond in the rough, and right now the Steelers are making me feel pretty dumb on that one. I get the sense that this is a play calling issue. But both the offensive coordinator, the offensive game plan, and Mitch Trubisky have to be more aggressive. George Pickens said this week that he felt like he was running free down the field 90% of the time. I don't think it was quite that much. But there were more opportunities that were out there. Trubisky has just got to look down the field more, but at the same time, I think the offensive plan has to have him throwing the ball down the field more, because I feel like we're seeing what we saw last year with a lot of throws short of the sticks, especially on third down. Is there anything that's more maddening than that? No. And I just get the sense that he says that he's not worried about his job, but I think that has to be in the back of his mind somewhat when, you have another third down that's short and the crowd at Acrisure starts chanting Kenny. I mean, he can't escape it. And so I think that maybe it's more reassurances from the coaching staff, or he needs to trust himself more, but he's got to let it loose if this offense is going to get going. But he also said post-game, how do you open up downfield passing? Call concepts to get receivers there, and then when coverage dictates it, get the ball to those receivers. That's the recipe. That's what they have to do, but, easier said than done.
Brooke, you read my mind. It's exactly where I was going. How long is the leash on Mitch Trubisky?
I think that this is going to be a really important game for him. I thought it would be a little bit longer than this. I don't think that this is all on him. But if the Steelers did want to make a change, if they felt like that at some point this season they were going to hand the reins over to Kenny Pickett, they do have a mini bye coming up after this Thursday night game if the offense can't get back on track. And look, that's a tall order because there's not much time to change the offensive strategy on a short week. I still think this comes down to more play calling, but there's not another offensive coordinator waiting in the wings. There is another quarterback. I think that possibility becomes more realistic if Mitch comes out and doesn't have a good game.
I said Kenny Pickett would be the starter well before the bye week. Fair or false? True or false? Fair or false?
Fair or false. That's a new one. I haven't played that game.
Coming to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show next week. Fair or false?
We're cutting edge here, Brooke. We're cutting edge.
You guys are teaching me so many things.
Yeah.
I'm going to go – if you had asked me before the season, I would say false. At this point, I feel like it's fair, just given the trajectory of how things have gone.
So not
I hate
true,
to say
but
it because,
fair.
I like that she played.
But fair.
But not
Exactly.
false.
I'm going to play your games. I might
Yes, you made the game there.
All
So
right.
we're
You're a
with you.
great guest. I can tell you that. We're playing along. There it is. There's our true or false graphic. Hey, Brooke, what's funny to me is as you look at the Steelers historically, and particularly with Tomlin at the helm, they don't know what it's like to be under 500. They just don't. They haven't lived there at the end of any season under Mike Tomlin, and I'm sure that there may be a point in time, particularly early in the season, where they've been there. But we talked earlier on the show. This is not an organization that pushes the panic button. They traditionally stay the course and they figure it out. All of that being said, everybody loves the backup quarterback. He's the most popular guy in town. What you've seen of him through camp, through the preseason, is he going to be any better with that same offensive line in your view?
You know what? I think that he would be maybe just as good with that offensive line. I think he could be better. To me, the intangible here is the spark, because a team is going to be energized by a quarterback change, especially when it's the rookie first-round pick coming in, the homegrown guy. The fans are going to be more excited about it. I think that there would be a different tone and an energy, and it would be – I feel like right now the Steelers team is on the defensive, trying to, defend Mitch and defend what's going on. I think you put Kenny in there and everything changes and they become more aggressive naturally. But I think that the Steelers, though, do need to do something with this offensive line to use Mitch Trubisky's mobility, because that's a trait that he has. That's something that Mike Tomlin said for a while that he wanted in a quarterback. Kenny Pickett has the same thing. I think he has even more than what Mitch Trubisky has. So, yeah, maybe he fares a little bit better with this offensive line. But, look, the reality is this offensive line has not been that bad in pass pro. The run game is where it's been an issue, and that seems like they're just not on the same page with Najee Harris. I've watched, some film back where Najee is just missing holes and he is running to contact, and it's puzzling because that is not how he plays. I don't know if it's a health thing for him or what, but to me, this offensive line has outperformed expectations. That does not mean they're good by any means. It just means that I had really, really low expectations after the preseason.
So they're jumping over a low bar. Yeah, and there was somebody before the season started that had Najee Harris rated higher than Nick Chubb,
which was idiotic.
Listen,
and we killed him. Yeah, I know.
Brooke, you just told me that I need.
Couldn't be me.
You told me that.
Not you, Brooke.
You literally just told me to trade Najee Harris while he still got some value. That's what you just told me on my fantasy team.
Yeah.
I'm not going to straight up tell you that, but I will tell you that in my fantasy drafts when he was available, I did not pick him. And I like drafting guys that I cover because I'm naturally going to pay attention
Where
to
was
them.
you
But
at 3 weeks ago? Come on.
Yeah.
All right,
but I can tell you to trade him. So there's that. Maybe the guys in your league are watching this right now.
Yeah.
They might.
Well, they are.
They might.
He's sitting right next to you.
Unfortunately, then I got nothing.
I don't have him in that league.
Brad's not here. Trade him to Brad. He'll buy him.
With the connection that Jacoby Brissett and Amari Cooper had last game, what do you think the Pittsburgh Steelers plan to slow them down? Because Amari Cooper is one of those guys that once he gets rolling, it's hard to stop.
I thought it was interesting that Mike Tomlin said that Amari Cooper is playing well, but he's doing the same kind of things that they were asking Landry to do, that they were asking OBJ to do. So he's familiar with these concepts, even if they haven't played Amari Cooper himself very often. But I mean, I'm looking at a guy like Minka Fitzpatrick just to see what he can do. They move him all over the field. He has 2 picks in 2 weeks. He had the pick 6 on the second defensive play of the season in Cincinnati. So I'm looking at him. I like what the corners have done so far. They don't have a guy like Joe Hayden, who, I mean, as you guys I'm sure have seen, retired this morning as a Brown. As someone who just covered him in Pittsburgh, I was mildly surprised, but then I was also like, oh, yeah, he was in Cleveland much longer than he was in Pittsburgh. But, yeah, I think that's going to be something that they're going to have to stop. But to me, if I'm the Steelers, I am less concerned about Jacoby Brissett connecting with Amari Cooper and much more worried about those running backs, especially the way that the Patriots moved the ball in the fourth quarter and ran out the clock. That I felt, again, like I was in that time transporter that time machine back to 2021, and we're seeing run game issues all over again.
Brooke, last thing. In that first game against Cincinnati, T.J. Watt, the defense played well. Burrow had a bad game, turned the ball. But T.J. Watt was wreaking havoc that whole game. I mean, he was killing Burrow. He was making every play. Something we haven't seen enough from Myles Garrett. But anyway, we saw it from him. They lose him. The defense wasn't tested all that much. Patriots offense isn't very good. The Browns are a one-dimensional offense with the running game, which is great, but their passing game, again, next week, the Jets played well, but the Jets aren't great. They're playing much better offenses after that. How big, once they start playing consistently better offensive teams, and even this week against the Browns in the great running game, how concerned are you about the drop-off of their defense overall with the loss of Watt?
Yeah, I'm pretty concerned if I'm the Steelers looking at, they didn't record a single sack last week. And they weren't playing like world's best offensive line. They just weren't able to get pressure. It felt like they were maybe an inch or two away from getting to the quarterback. Malik Reed played well. I thought Alex Highsmith played okay. Cam Hayward played really well. But still, I think that they're missing that extra energy, that guy that, you can't double team, or you have to double team. So maybe you leave Alex Highsmith open. I just think that it's a lot harder for this team to generate pressure without, it feels ridiculous to say out loud because it's like a no-duh statement, but at the same time, it's a lot harder for this team to generate pressure without the reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year on the field. I think they're going to have to rely on doing some creative things, bringing up Arthur Millette to blitz more often, things like that. Even though the Steelers said, hey, we're not going to reinvent the wheel without TJ Watt, I kind of feel like they have to, because what they were doing last week didn't work. So they've got to figure out something, because they can't go, 5 more weeks without a sack. They're not going to win a game.
Nope. All right, should be exciting Thursday night. Thanks, Brooke. We appreciate the time.
Yeah, Brooke, excellent job. We enjoyed it. You were super good, and hopefully we'll talk before their second meeting later this season.
Next time we'll play true or unfair.
No, I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
All right, Brooke, thanks.
Brooke.
Great sport. I want to clean up one thing. Guys, can we take the graphic that had the last 4 results, Browns-Steelers?
Yeah, Steve, that's 4. And by the way, the post-game show tomorrow night still happening, even for a late night. We are doing
warning.
a post-game show. It starts at the 2-minute warning. I promise not to declare the Browns victors or losers until the final whistle has officially occurred this time.
Yeah.
Mikey, what about Saturday?
Well, Thursdays before Saturday.
You'll hype up Saturday.
Yeah, we'll talk about Saturday on Friday.
I finally get to be on this on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, they'll be on a Buckeye
By the way,
show
I
too.
forgot to mention before you mentioned this graphic, yesterday we had a schedule graphic, and on the schedule, instead of saying Bengals, it said Begnals.
That's what we're calling them now. We officially changed their name.
Changed them to the Begnals?
Yeah, well, or the Bengals.
The Bengals.
Yeah. Go back
That's
to that.
That's their cheerleaders, by the way, the Bengals.
Yeah, it is. And it's also their team this year.
It's so far it has been.
If we can throw that last 4 results graphic up, I want to clean something up. That's not right. 38-7 was the first Steelers-Browns game in 2020. Their last 2 games against the Steelers in 2020 was the last game of the regular season, a win for the Browns that put them in the playoffs, and then they beat them in the playoff game also.
Right, the playoff game is missing. That's what's missing.
Well, no, and the regular season game is
no, the regular season game.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
the playoff game is
the
missing.
playoff game
this
is
is
not
the last
there.
4 regular season.
Yeah, regular season, that's true.
Yeah.
But listen, when it's Browns Steelers, I count everything.
Yeah, we got to put the playoff game.
I don't know why I hate that team so much. I guess because they've been so good and we've been so crappy. One of the best things I've ever seen in person was when the Steelers fans gave the Browns a standing ovation at the end of their last game in '96 before the move. Mm-hmm. I just thought that was one of the classiest things, and it's been really hard for me to hate their fan base ever since.
Bleep them.
Yeah, I know.
Let's get back to the Guardians, guys.
Can we talk more baseball, McNuggets?
Yes, let's do it.
Do we have your permission?
Before we do that, just for Tyvis, we are doing a Buckeyes post-game show on Saturday night.
Thank you.
At about 12:59 when the game's at 30 points.
Smiley G again.
On the clock. We will be going live. And
why does
give
G
you
get
everything
to
you
be
need to know.
front center all the time?
Well, look at that smile. Where else you want to put
I got
him?
I got a smirk.
Yeah.
That is that. Let's talk Guardians.
And by the way, that's McNuggets' 8th grade picture.
Shout out to my hat. We talking Guardians. Shout out
that
to the
picture
hat.
is actually less than a year
that
old,
look
but-
from
Man,
McNuggets
you
is
look
like
you look like a 12.
That look from McNuggets, his face is like he just saw his girlfriend hooking up with another guy. That's what it looks like. That's look.
Wait a minute. Let me see it again. Let me see the
Steve, you
graphic.
gotta see it again.
It's a freeze frame of a stand-up.
Put it back on for a second. Put it back
There's no
on.
time where we gotta punch it back up.
He's like horrified. It's like
Mid-sentence.
It was like he was about to see his girlfriend, so he had a smile, and then she's kissing another guy, so he was horrified.
Hey, it's mid-sentence, but hey, if that's what you guys think, that's what you
All
guys.
right, Guardians, baby.
McNuggets,
8 minutes.
we love you. You know that.
Huge win
let's do
last
it.
night.
Yeah, go
beat
ahead and
that
throw
one.
that graphic up that we were going to start with.
Yeah.
For the Guardians.
Yeah.
You would put something up on the screen.
Which one? We had a lot of them. I'm not sure what pops up.
Yeah,
sometimes.
I don't know. I saw it for a second and then we wiped out
Let's
of it.
just take tag board full. Is this the one you're talking about?
Yeah, I think it was tag board actually. Yeah. I love that.
We love our disgusting brand of baseball.
Yeah.
I don't think it's disgusting at all. Who's saying?
No, they're
No,
making fun of
no.
the fact that people call. It's called Satire Bowl. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah.
I understand.
What did Elvis Andrus? What did Elvis Andrus say? Was it off of his tweet?
No, I think just
No.
the general conception of this team is they play ugly baseball because they don't
Yeah.
hit a lot of home runs.
You know
and
what
it's
they play?
quote-unquote disgusting, but
You know
they
what
play winning baseball.
They play playoff baseball. And here's what I mean by that. Short pitching stints by the starters, get it into the bullpen where your
Yeah.
strength is.
Right.
And they also build runs. Teams don't build runs anymore. Teams, that's why when they get to the playoffs and you need that bunt or you need that stolen base, This team is built for that.
Stolen
and I know,
base, at least. I don't know about bunt. I mean, even the Guardians don't bunt much.
No, they don't. But
by the way, I'm glad they didn't bunt with Myles Straw in the inning they tied the game.
Yeah.
On the broadcast, on the TV broadcast, they were saying they should bunt. I'm like, you're down 2 runs.
I didn't like that either. I wouldn't have bunted in that situation. But what I mean by that is they've got 5 guys on this team that can swipe bags. They've done it regularly throughout the regular season.
In fact, I'll give you a stat. It's the first time they've had 5 guys with 15 or more steals in 100 years.
Because they stopped running.
Sheesh.
They stopped running. But teams don't have that.
Yeah.
And kudos to Terry. Remember when the season started and the organization, we all said, we don't have any outfielders. We have nobody in the outfield. All of a sudden, Oscar Gonzalez has emerged as this pillar in right field that hits
Solid.
and plays defense. He's great.
Yeah.
You got Myles Straw in center. Defensively, there are a few better. And you've got Stephen Kwan, and this is an outfield guy.
Yeah, I'd still like to replace Straw.
I know you would.
I would,
For the offense.
and
You
make
got
him
him on your fantasy team.
because I needed some stolen bases. It's category. He's gotten me a couple of stolen
So
bases.
But
you're
this
using
outfield, to me,
I'd rather him not be an everyday starter, but
You're using
it's
him.
better than I thought, and certainly Stephen Kwan, most importantly,
And
has
Oscar
been
Gonzalez.
fantastic.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, but Oscar Gonzalez has been good for a while. Stephen Kwan's been great the
yeah,
whole
but he came
season.
out of nowhere. Nobody expected that from
I hear
him
you,
this year.
but Kwan is going to finish, what, second for Rookie of the Year?
Probably behind Julio.
I mean, no, but who the hell had that at the beginning of the season?
No,
The
nobody.
thing with Oscar Gonzalez is he's
Yeah.
the first tangible proof of the Guardians Dominican Academy.
Yeah.
Because we've
Yeah.
heard so much about this academy, and they haven't had – Jose came through it, so I shouldn't say that. Jose
Yeah.
Ramirez came through it.
But
And
we thought it would be a pipeline, and
right,
it hasn't been.
And he makes it the whole thing worth it, just one guy. But you're going to start seeing more of these guys come through here now. There's a bunch of guys on the cusp who have come through that academy who are ready to contribute at the major league level. So
Yeah.
I'm really – Jose Tena, I think, was one. The names are escaping me. There's 4 or 5 guys
Yeah.
who are ready now. And they're not all going to play here. A lot
Did
of them could be
Spino come
bundled
through
in.
there, or is he? No.
No, I don't think
he was
so.
drafted.
No,
He was a
no,
first-round
right.
pick.
Yeah.
But not all of them are going to play here. In fact, most of them
Right.
won't.
But they're pieces.
But they're pieces, and they're highly thought of pieces that could be bundled in trades.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, in this offseason, they don't need that much. I think they need a real first baseman, and I would make Naylor my DH.
But Naylor has improved, man.
Yeah, but I'd
He's
still
improved
rather him
over
be
there.
DH. He doesn't have to. It's not like Franmil Reyes where he has to DH every game. But I would try to get. I had this dream, by the way. I know this obviously will never happen, but I actually mentioned this on my podcast this morning because he's a free agent. Obviously, I know this would never happen. But can you imagine? He's not a first baseman. Can you imagine if the Guardians made the biggest shocking move in the history of baseball and said, new owner, we're going to consistently have a payroll of $150 million or more,
Which they should.
and they signed Aaron Judge. He's a free agent. He's a free agent.
Oh, they're going to
Oh,
sign
that's
him.
I know
hilarious.
that's not going
Vodka in
to.
that water bottle?
I know that's not going to happen.
Who, by the way, with his next home run, will tie the American League home run record for a single season. He hit
Remarkable.
60 last
Hate
night.
the Yankees all you want.
Yeah, he's
It's
awesome.
remarkable. He has 20 more home runs than anybody else in baseball.
Where's Albert Pujols? Is he at 5?
He's at
He's at
699. 8. I think
698,
yeah.
Yeah, he needs 2.
Also remarkable.
And I'm hoping he gets there.
hope-
But I'm rooting for Aaron Judge. I don't like I always hated the Yankees since I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I like Aaron Judge. I got no beef with him.
We may see Aaron Judge
Not
down the
coming to the
road.
Yankees.
And I
Not
hate
coming to the
putting,
Guardians, but
putting the cart before
Yeah.
the horse.
Yeah.
But with our magic number now at 9 with 11 14 games to go, I mean, I know the 99.9, but if you start looking ahead, their first round series right now would be against the Mariners, and with this new setup, all 3 games would be here in Cleveland.
Right, which is huge.
Huge.
Right.
It's also huge that they clinch before the last week of the season.
you can set
Let
up your
Tito
rotation.
set up the rotation, let guys be on full rest.
Yeah.
Seattle's going to be coming in here knowing that they've got to win 2 on the road against a team that you look at the starting pitching, that's going to be tough to figure out.
And the Mariners are struggling right now, and they're banged up.
Yes, they're
Some
not
of
the
key
team
guys
that
are
they
banged
were
up.
in
Although they
August.
killed the Guardians
I
with
know.
the 2 series they
know.
played them.
Yeah, they did.
But
That's regular season.
looking extremely ahead,
Yeah.
I think things set up very favorably for the Guardians for a deep playoff run, because if things hold and they get Seattle and they can get past the Mariners, they then would get the Yankees, not the Astros.
Right.
The Astros
The
are
Astros
not the team you want to see until you get to the ALCS.
Yeah. Well, you hope somebody can knock them
You
out.
hope that someone,
shockingly.
I don't see that
That's
happening.
the worst matchup for the Guardians.
Can you imagine
is the
saying in
Yankees.
July you want to see the Yankees?
No, because they were
at
once upon a
80
time.
and 16
Yeah, it
or
was
something like
unbelievable.
that.
They were going to break the record. They were on
and they
pace.
kind of righted the ship here the last couple of weeks after they had played poor baseball for much of July and August.
Yeah,
Wait
they
a
were
minute.
terrible.
One of y'all throwing out a first pitch on the 29th?
29th.
It's our 100th show.
That is, right? The
It's our
29th.
100th show.
Who's doing that?
Guys, real quick. I got a little bit of breaking news for you guys here. This is actually important. Earlier in the show, you remember Bull said he would beat Sir Yacht in a race?
I never said that. What are you talking about?
He said
You put on Twitter.
Sir Yacht tweeted, I'll race anybody in Cleveland in the 100. And I said, would you race Sir Yacht if you started at midfield?
Okay, well, I heard that wrong, and I tweeted it out. And BetJack actually put odds on it. Let's take the tweet here. BetJack literally saw the tweet. They put odds. So Bull versus Sir Yacht. Bull's a plus 825.
What? Wait, are we?
This is the real BetJack account. This is not a parody.
Are we doing the 50-yard
I'm not
going to
race him. I'm going to get hurt.
I'm just saying.
If he getting the 50-yard here,
that's the power of this show.
I throw 100 on
I misheard. I misheard.
Yeah, why would you guys tweet that?
I misheard. I thought you challenged him to a race.
Why would I challenge him to a race? He's like 20-something and thin.
I challenge you to a race.
I'm 50 years old and not in great shape. I mean, I'm not going to compete him in a race.
Well, either way, I misheard it. I tweeted it. And now we have legitimate odds on it. So.
Well, listen, as long as BetJack is watching, or at least listening to your Twitter feed.
No, it really is. That's the real BetJack.
It is the real BetJack. I recognize the icon.
It is legit the real BetJack.
So what we need is, because we do odds here and we talk about betting, we need someone from BetJack maybe to be a regular to come on and tell us how they set these odds, what the process is in this, and maybe get someone from their place to kind of explain that to our viewers, because our viewers are very much, as we've seen from our chat, they're very much into odds and betting, and come January 1st, it's a whole new world. It's a whole new world.
Yep.
And speaking of betting, who would have bet that Bull be 0-2 in fantasy football through 2 weeks, especially after?
And isn't Brad 2-0?
So embarrassing.
Brad's 2-0, and we have Dave Richard here now to.
Brad took Cade York in the fifth round, and he's 2-0.
I lost to a guy who has no clue what he's doing. Brad has zero clue what he's doing. I had to set his lineup for him,
which is true.
That's true.
And because I'm the commissioner. One player, but he didn't even know he could change his lineup. Okay?
Well, he's never done this before in defense of Brad.
He 2-0.
I know. Listen, my wife, when she first started, was picking on cheap guys, and she started 5-0.
And I lost to him this week. Do you believe that? That's embarrassing. It's flat out embarrassing.
Lost. I could not stop laughing at you.
It's terrible. I deserve the criticism.
Dave, look, I think Dave is even getting a measure of enjoyment out of this, aren't you?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Because you don't understand. Jay, you don't understand. It's been a decade that I've known Bull, and all I've heard about is, oh, my teams are great. I'm competitive every year. I
he'll tell you.
That's my Bull impersonation.
He'll
it's not that good of an impersonation.
The so-called fantasy experts never let me in their leagues because they know I dominate.
It sounds like me.
No, we just forget that you're out there. We don't bring you in.
I want to get in one of these
We did a league once, I thought.
No, we didn't.
I thought we did a league once.
Dave,
oh, man, yeah. You know what we did?
Bull been hanging with me too much. He started to talk like
he is. Yeah, but no, Dave understands it. I'll give you my Bull impersonation.
Yeah.
I'm in 15 fantasy leagues, and I'm going to win all of them.
Should you not have that expectation to win every league you're in?
Sound like
but I deserve ridicule and criticism.
But you're 0-2. You're not winning.
Dave, his quarterbacks in our league were Tom Brady and Trey Lance.
It's bad.
Oh,
oh man. That's awful. You got 3 ankles between them.
Yeah, you can pick up Jimmy.
It's bad. I think I did. No, I have Matt Ryan now. A very exciting.
Oh, well, he's killing it.
Wow.
He's killing
it. All right, so now you're on.
I'm about to say,
I crapped the bed with the quarterbacks
here. Who are you playing this week?
I'm playing Anthony, so hopefully I can get back on track. We'll see.
Dave,
Hey, in fairness, though, even though I deserve the most ridicule, Mikey McNuggets is in dead last.
Is he?
In a super flex league.
No, I had the worst week in fantasy.
Because he's 0-2 with the lowest point
total. Your quarterbacks are abysmal.
He couldn't even break 100 points last week in a super
I have Joe
flex
Burrow
league.
and Kirk Cousins as my 2 quarterbacks, and those 2 combined have 3 touchdowns and 9 interceptions.
I've never heard of anyone missing 100 points in a super flex.
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Dave.
All of them. Yeah, Dave, it's embarrassing.
We're setting the bar very low.
It is embarrassing.
Dave, I got a fantasy question.
Let's get a real question here. Go ahead.
This is about me.
Everybody makes it about
me. I got 4 running backs, and I need to know which 2 to play. I got Alvin Kamara, Najee Harris, Miles Sanders, and Damian Harris. Which 2 am I playing this week?
Not Damian Harris.
So it's easy if Kamara's out. You'll start the middle 2.
Yeah.
Damian Harris, I don't feel really good starting him, but if Kamara plays, who'd you say? You said Kamara, you said Sanders, and you said one other name.
Najee Harris.
Najee, yeah.
Ooh.
Najee Harris.
Should I trade him? Is that the question? That's another question.
You could, but you probably took him in round 1 or round 2.
Yeah, I think
So you're probably not going to get that back in return. Right.
Find
So
the
you're not
sucker in
gonna
the
get a
league,
first
Bull,
rounder
and trade him.
back for him.
Tyvis.
So who is the two I should start?
Oh,
you
you're
the
calling me the
sucker
sucker?
in the league.
I think you got to go with Sanders has been playing really well.
He has been.
Philadelphia's playing Washington. I like him. Of catches count, it's a lot closer between him and Najee. But if Kamara's out there, I think it's Kamara and Sanders.
Okay.
Dave, you were red hot with your suggestions last week. I know you said you didn't like St. Brown. You just didn't think he was going to be that guy. Oh, my goodness. I mean, if anybody was watching you last week and they claimed him because he was available a lot, this guy's been incredible.
He has been. You're talking about St. Brown on the Lions, right?
Yes,
Not St. Brown on
absolutely.
the Bears or
No.
Curtis Samuel.
He wasn't available. He was like
Samuel was a guy that I
No,
definitely
he was
recommended.
available in my league, and I didn't get him.
Wow.
Who?
And I'm
Well,
being
that-
stupid
that's-
because he was.
No, I
Thomas'
know. Well,
fifth-round
listen,
pick.
Who are you talking about?
my league's a family league.
Wait,
so
who are you talking about?
St. Brown.
Oh, yeah, that was
one.
steal.
Tyvis beat me with St. Brown. St. Brown had more than half my team's
I don't know
points
why
by
he.
himself last
Yeah,
week.
he shouldn't have been
Wow.
a free agent in any league.
No, he wasn't my. It's a family
No.
league, Bull.
Yeah, all
No.
right, fair enough.
Who, so
I
who do you
got
guys
you. Maybe
this
you
week?
guys just don't like Lions.
Who do you want us to pick up this week?
Well, I think you go to wide receiver and you just look first and foremost at what Garrett Wilson did last week. He was outstanding for the Jets, and you guys saw him at Ohio State. You know what I'm talking about. An amazing route runner, great speed. Kind of made Joe Flacco a better quarterback than he actually is. And I think he can do it again this week against the Bengals. I think the strength of that Bengals defense is their front four, not necessarily their secondary. And the Jets are just willing to let Joe Flacco let it rip all the time. So they're going to allow that to happen. Garrett Wilson's going to be in line for a bunch of targets again, and he should be able to come through. So he's my favorite guy to pick up off the waiver wire. Right behind him is Curtis Samuel. People did not listen last week when I told you that Curtis Samuel's play. I know you did, Bull, and you're still 0-2.
No, different
but
league.
Samuel
Different league.
was this extension of the Washington run game.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to continue until at least Brian Robinson comes back or until Curtis Samuel gets hurt because he's been known to get hurt.
It's interesting that you
I
picked two
think you
Buckeye
just roll with
wide
him.
receivers. Go Bucks.
That's true.
It's true.
Go Bucks. All
Yeah,
right.
and don't forget about Chris Olave in those smaller leagues.
Yeah.
Now we got three.
By the way, Dave, are you a White Sox fan? I don't think I knew that. Is that?
I am. Die
Oh,
That-
you was
that one
upset.
I don't want
hurt
to talk
last
about
night.
last night.
Yeah, he was upset.
Don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, you don't.
And you guys got.
You know what?
Good.
The Guardians have had our number all year, and it's like we had to sweep this series. I'm a part of the team.
Yeah.
Had to sweep the series just to have the tiebreaker in the AL Central. And I'll tell you, man, the White Sox were so mismanaged through the first 2/3 of the season
They were.
that they deserve to be in this position that they are in. And the Guardians have played like the better team. I'm not going to be sour about it. I'm not going to make fun of you guys for changing the name or having a bunch of young players on the team. The Guardians are good, and they're the best team in the division. They deserve to win the division. So
No doubt. No doubt. Sir.
my hat is off to you guys. I hope you guys crush in the playoffs. I heard you talking before I came on about how you hope that the Yankees are you playing the first round. Who would have ever thought you would have wished for the Yankees in the first round
I know,
of the AL
that's
playoffs?
amazing.
But I agree with you.
Yeah.
White
Anybody but
Sox,
the
they're
Astros.
back-to-back division winners. The White Sox took on the Astros last year, and the Astros almost.
Just killed them. Hey,
I think the Guardians have a shot.
Dave, can you trust anybody? Are you playing anybody on the Seahawks offense at all? I mean, I guess it depends on your roster, but
So it depends on your roster, and if you're talking about a number 3 receiver, I think Metcalf and Lockett still qualify. We saw last week that Lockett can get good numbers with Geno Smith. And then Pete Carroll kind of had the nerve to go out and at his press conference and say that we think we need to give more to Geno Smith. Let him throw a little bit more. And I don't know if that's him digging in at Russell Wilson because he never quite said anything like that when it came to Russ. But now he's going to let Geno Smith do it. It's kind of crazy to me. But those are number 3 type receivers. They're playing Atlanta this week. The Falcons' defense isn't that great. Geno Smith should have time to throw. Both those receivers can be pretty good.
Derrick Henry, 2 games. I don't want to panic. I actually don't have him in any leagues. But should fans that have Derrick Henry, you do, should they be concerned at all? He didn't look good in the playoffs last year, and he hasn't looked good so far this year. Yeah.
It's the offensive line is really a problem for Tennessee, and defenses know how to defend them. And let's be real, when they played the Giants in Week 1, the Giants still had Leonard Williams. They're a better run defense with him on the field. And they took on Buffalo. I think Buffalo's got the best defense in football right now when they're healthy. they're not quite healthy going into this matchup against Miami. You should keep that in mind for all your Dolphins players out there. But I think as the matchups get easier, and Las Vegas is certainly an easier matchup, I think you'll see Derrick Henry do great. He's one of the players that I would tell you to buy low on because he hasn't gotten off to a good start. But he still has games against the rest of the AFC South. I think he's still going to have some monster numbers. And if I can get him for the price of like someone I took in the 4th or 5th round, or James Robinson, I turned James Robinson and another player into Derrick Henry. I feel like I'm winning that trade by a lot.
Probably, yeah. Yep.
Dave, we got one question from our YouTube chat. This is from Strong Cleefan. Stafford or Tua this week?
I'll take Stafford. I'm a little bit worried about Tua against that zone-heavy Buffalo defense, and Buffalo's going to get to him. That offensive line for the Dolphins isn't really that great. When he's under pressure, he does worse. And I know that he's got great receivers. He's still a top 12 guy. There's a lot of quarterbacks I don't like this week. Like, listen to this. I'll start Stafford over Tua, but I'll start Tua ahead of both Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady.
Dang.
Brady because he doesn't have any receivers to throw to. It's crazy. And Rodgers because I just don't know if his receivers are good enough to help him get great numbers. Right. Tua might have a game with 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and the Dolphins might not win. But that's good enough for fantasy, and I think that's what he could end up producing.
Thanks,
All
Dave.
right, Dave, great stuff, man. Great stuff. We'll look forward to it next week, our Waiver Wire Wednesday report
Gotta
with
get off the
our
schneid
fantasy
here.
expert.
When Bull's 0-3.
Yeah, I better not hear 0-3 from
You know,
you
I
next
think
week.
I think the problem is I got cocky, and I thought these guys had no chance. And I didn't work hard on this draft. This was my first of my 5 drafts. I'm doing well in all my other leagues. I got cocky, and I better get out of it, or I'm going to be deserved to get crushed all the time.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Just
Thanks,
like your
Dave.
Bengals, perhaps. Sitting at 0-2. Dave, thanks. We'll see you next week.
You got it, Jay. Good luck, everybody.
Great stuff. McNuggets has.
Yeah, we got one more nugget. Let's take tag board full here. This is actually big news here. No, not that one.
Oh, no.
No, listen,
Don't
yes.
look. Don't
yes.
look. Oh, okay.
Myles Garrett,
Hey,
Antonio,
that's
Jack
good
Conklin,
news.
all expected to
Conklin's
play.
going to play.
Good. Very good. Very good.
Last time he played was about 1986, so that's
Well,
good.
I knew Myles was playing.
Guy was an Iron Man until.
Myles was out there with a messed up groin in like the last game last season, and he was still out there, so I knew he was playing.
Yeah, he's not going to miss this. This is the Steelers.
Especially after his comments with the fans. I don't think you call it the fans and then miss a game. That's
Yeah,
tough luck.
and again, yesterday, I think JOK was asked about the fans booing, and he gave the right answer. And here's a second-year guy who's having some coverage issues, and he knew what to say about the fans. He said, I'm all about tough love. And fans absolutely have the right to boo.
I think, by the way Hudson's played these first 2 games, they're moving on from Conklin at the end of this year, probably.
Really?
Do you like him that much?
Well,
He's
he's
phenomenal.
He's
you're
been
going to have some
better.
areas where you save money.
He's been better. Yeah, no.
You know?
$30 million over the cap right now for next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of names.
You're paying a
that
ton
have
of money to
go.
Wyatt Teller.
And
You're
that's
paying a ton
why-
of money to Batonio, and those guys are better than Conklin.
And that's
so.
why they had that players-only meeting last night. Because this is it. This is the last year that this group will be together. It's going to be so many
That's true.
changes after this
Yep.
that you have to capitalize.
Kareem
because
Hunt's
there's gonna be
probably
guys
gone. So, yeah.
Yeah, the
So
window,
you
the
can't
window in
waste
the
time.
NFL, when it gets all the way to the top, being open, it immediately starts coming back down.
Right, but the good teams can, once they're dealing with the cap, and this is the first time the Browns have ever had to really deal with the cap, ever, the good teams can keep drafting smart young players to replace some of the veterans to move out.
Yeah, but the better you are, the later you're drafting, and it becomes harder to find
Right,
great talent at the
but
bottom
a lot
of the draft.
But the Buccaneers stayed good for a long time. The Steelers with Roethlisberger stayed good for a long time.
Patriots.
If you have a good quarterback and you draft well, you can stay good for a long time.
That's
True.
It's time for final takes. Let's do it.
Okay, and by the way, somebody sent, I think it might have been Steve in the text chat, what that disgusting baseball was in reference to. He referenced a tweet
Yeah, we'll pull it up. We
from
got it.
August
Okay.
that
You can
basically
take
said
it.
Well, Mike
The
gave me
Guardians
a hard time
play
saying
disgusting
it's
baseball.
some
Random fan.
It was a
like,
random fan that said it. It's not.
Oh,
Who cares?
Yeah.
right. So I don't know why they did that. It just
Yeah.
seemed odd. I mean, I don't think
Talk about petty.
I think any
Who cares
baseball
what
fan.
EJ Nave
I think if you're
fucks or
Yeah.
I think if you're a
keep-
real
they
baseball
keep the
fan, a diehard
receipts.
baseball fan, you love watching the Guardians play. Whether you're a Guardians fan or not, I bet you diehard baseball fans enjoy watching the
well,
Guardians.
they're
play
fun as hell to watch.
Quan
Yes,
taking
they
third
are.
last night when Moncada had given up already and didn't even cover the bag.
I mean,
It's great.
They hustle like no other team.
They tore their
You know
heart
what
out.
else I loved last night after Naylor was lifted? When he came out of the game after getting the, I think
He's
he got
barking at him.
The fans were screaming at him in Chicago, and he's barking right back at him.
Loved
like-
it.
it was
I
like
love
Miles
Love his
Straw.
energy. The Guardians are like a 1980s baseball team, right? Like remember that Cardinals team with Willie McGee and Vince Coleman, and Tommy Herr had like 100 ribbies and like 8 home runs.
He did.
1980s. I wasn't even born.
Yeah.
Jason has a final take that we need to play.
All right, let me start here.
Let's get started. Both.
I mean, it's only 12:53.
I got a Jet at 1 today, so I mean, as close to 1 as we can get.
So I have a huge problem. I know Jay is a guy who's anti-analytics. He doesn't love analytics. He thinks it's ruined the sport. And we've talked a lot about analytics in sports. And there's a place for analytics. I am a pro-analytics guy all the way. But I was reading a book once, and Theo Epstein was quoted in it, and he said, when I first got into baseball, I only cared about the analytics. And until I learned to balance the human element with the analytics, it didn't work. That's when it started to work. And I love the numbers. I'm obsessed with numbers. But they don't tell you the whole story. They tell you part of the story. Just like it's bad to only use analytics, the guys on the other side are just as dopey. Everything is the gut. Everything is, no. You got to use the numbers too. But it's the people that can put it together that are successful. And that's not only in sports, it's also in the world of media. I feel like in the media, radio and TV, we've become slaves to the analytics. That's all we care about. And thus, we have chased away, in my opinion, a lot of baseball fans across the country, here in Cleveland and across the country. I think, we always talk about the fact that when I was on the radio, and certainly on this show as well, and everybody else in this town when it comes to baseball, well, we can't talk about the Guardians because the numbers say that people care more about the Browns. And that's true. I'm not trying to debate that the Browns are not the most popular team in Cleveland. Everybody knows the Browns are the most popular team in Cleveland. Cool. But the Guardians consistently have great ratings, both radio and TV, for baseball. They've had it forever. Why is that? If nobody cares about baseball, why are so many people watching and listening to the game? I'll tell you why. Because they're out there. We've just chased them away from the rest of sports media. Again, let me make it very clear. I'm not saying the Guardians are more popular than the Browns. That would be silly. I'm saying they're more popular than all the analytics guys think they are. But when you talk only about football all the time, radio, TV, just the sports media in general, Cleveland and national, eventually the people that love baseball and would love to hear you talk about their team are going to say, well, maybe I'll go to MLB Network because my local station or my local TV is never going to talk about it. So I'm doing my part to try to bring people back to baseball. And on my podcast, I'm talking plenty of baseball. The last 2 podcasts I've done yesterday and today have been 80 to 90% about the Guardians. And I know I'm going to get less clicks because I'm not talking about the Browns as much. And that's okay because I think I'm going to bring more people back to me and to this show as well by talking about a team that gets mostly ignored. This is a problem on ESPN too, and that Jay's talked about it. They're always looking at the numbers. It's always about the analytics. Well, of course everybody wants to talk about the Cowboys and Tim Tebow and watches. The numbers are great when you talk about those things. Why? Because you've chased the other people that care about the fringe teams. You've chased them out. Why? If I'm a Buccaneers, well, Buccaneers not a good example. If I'm a Colts fan, why am I going to watch ESPN? They never talk about the Colts. I'm sure today on ESPN, all their talk shows in the morning, they should have been talking about Aaron Judge's 60 home runs. That's the biggest story in sports. But I bet they did a debate topic about can the Cowboys still win without Dak Prescott. It's pathetic. But I got you for baseball coverage.
I'm with you, too. I'm with you, as you know.
You say you got to be out by 1?
Yeah, I mean, as close to it as I can get. Yeah. Go, man. Do you. Do you.
I'm going to be considerate.
No, do what you have.
Listen,
fire your shot.
So mine is, I was going to talk about black fathers in their kids' lives. I was talking to my boy AC, Adrian Colbert. He played for the Titans. He just recently became a father. But we were sitting there talking yesterday, and we was like congratulating each other, and it was so nice to see that black men being actually a part of their kids' life. When I grew up, obviously my father wasn't in my life, and that was like the common thing when I was a kid. I met so many of my friends didn't have their fathers in their life, and that was just the thing back then. But it's so cool to see how that is transitioning to now. It's the cool thing to do is be in your kid's life and be there for them. Like the one thing that pains me about my 2 kids so far is that when my daughter was turned 1 year old, I missed her birthday because I was in Canada, and that killed me. And from that day forward, I said I would never miss another thing for my kids. So it's cool to be in your kid's life. I'm so glad that so many black men are stepping up and we changing this narrative, because for so many years, it seems like everybody didn't have a father in their life if you was a black person. So it's nice to see that's changing, and our kids will be better, and this world will become a better place because of it. So shout out to all the black fathers out there in their kids' life.
Man, you aren't kidding.
That's awesome, man.
I would listen to you talk about that for 30 minutes, because I think it's a huge social issue in our country. And I don't know your mother. Your mother is the real MVP.
Yeah, she
because you are a model human being.
Thanks.
You're considerate. You're kind. You're hardworking. You're very dedicated to your craft. And if you got that from one parent, your mom did the work of 2. And she did an unbelievable job.
And I'm going to clutch onto his cape as he skyrockets.
Yeah, I am.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yes,
We'll be
you
here
are,
every Wednesday
Yes,
and
you
Friday.
I mean, he's lost on the GOAT conversation in basketball, but besides that,
I sent y'all the thing.
Yeah,
I'm not the only one that thinks this.
He is.
no, that's not the greatest of all time. That's this year.
I switched it up. At 26.
If you want to have the conversation, Giannis is the best in the game right now, I think we're all in on that.
Yeah,
Shut up, no.
You
Somebody
said-
was against that.
You said, I'm going to tell y'all why he's the greatest ever.
I did ...
No.
At 26.
By the way, as long as we're talking about the NBA,
Shut up, Mike.
quickly before Jason starts his final take, this is big news because it's been a big story.
Yeah.
Robert Sarver, who's the owner of the Phoenix Suns and also the Mercury, has
They
now
got rid of him?
He's saying he's beginning the process to look for a new
Makes
buyer.
sense. The pressure's on.
Well, he's the pariah right now. The
Hey,
players.
he got to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
You know,
mean,
I just was having this conversation with someone from the NBA yesterday who said, if the players really want to turn on the heat, don't show up for training camp.
Yeah.
If the Phoenix Suns don't show up
Right.
for training camp, you will put him in an untenable
Yeah, right,
position because you're going to turn the other owners
Well,
on him.
didn't
Yeah.
the number 2, the second biggest stakeholder on the team say he should be gone? The second.
Someone else, yeah.
I
think
think
the guy's
everybody
name.
has. I mean, LeBron clearly was outspoken about it.
Yeah, right.
And, the league's defense was we can't force him to sell the team. Yesterday, I saw that one of the players came out and said that this should be in the players' hands. We should
Yeah,
vote
right.
whether or not he can stay on or not.
I don't think it was fair to blame Adam Silver. I mean, he can't.
No, Adam Silver
what's
can't
he gonna
force him
do?
to sell the team.
Yeah,
it is what
right,
it
right.
is.
Yeah.
He's an owner.
I'm sure he wanted him out.
But
and,
I think it's the best thing for
Yeah,
Robert
get him out.
Sarver and
Yeah.
for the NBA for sure,
Yeah, the guy's
and for the
disgusting.
Phoenix
Get him
Suns.
out.
Yeah.
All right. My name is Jason Lloyd. I'm 46 years old, and I have a TikTok account. And you could probably say that I'm too old to be on TikTok, and you'd be right. But I've got a 20-year-old, and I got to make sure that he doesn't ruin his own life or do something stupid on social media. So I use my TikTok account to stalk my son. And in the process, last night, I came across Kevin Rhodes, who's a musician in Nashville. And this is awesome because he's like my age. And what he does is he does kids' favorite jams by their dad's favorite bands. And this guy is unbelievably talented. And we're going to show you a couple clips. This is this guy singing Sesame Street to the Dave Matthews, and he's got a Bob Dylan song to Old MacDonald. These are hysterical.
Wow.
We'll play them real quick. Go ahead and take a look.
Sunny day, sweeping the clouds away. Shum along, come on.
Oh, McDonald, and that fun, yeah, oh. He would spend his days among the maids like he was waiting for the door. And Marcelo came, and they laid the claim, and the thief came, and the dirt below. Oh, and that lawyers were bigger than his. They said, oh, it's just business, kid, you know.
That is great.
So this, I mean, I sent these to Mikey this morning, and Mike said, I'd like to have half as much talent as these guys at anything in life. I grew up on Dave Matthews. I cackled when I saw the Dave Matthews one. In college, that's all we listened to. Just something light and fun to throw out the day. There was another one. He's got them everywhere. You can look on his YouTube page.
We could play the other one you
What's
sent
his
me if
name?
you want to do it.
What's his name again?
Kevin K.S. Rhodes is what he goes by.
Okay, K.S. Rhodes.
R-H-O-A-D-S.
Let's hear 10 seconds of the last one here. Let's take the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, here's Beastie Boys.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y,
Right?
Oh, that was awesome.
And he's got so many others on there as well. He's got Beach Boys. Counting Crows was awesome. He's got a great Counting Crows to Mary Had a Little Lamb. So if you want to laugh, go ahead and sign up for TikTok. If I got it at 46 years old, so can you.
Hey, I have one too.
Oh, there you go.
I have one too. I'm purely a voyeur. I don't post anything on there, but there are some. And you talk about going down a rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, I can
TikTok,
lose
you
hours.
can lose 45 minutes like that.
Yep.
You're like, wait a minute, what have I just accomplished?
Yep.
Nothing.
Yep.
But it's entertaining. Now, is he a country music artist?
I don't know what he is. I just found him last night and sent him to
Okay.
Mikey this morning.
Those are
But
great.
Unbelievably talented. The guy's
And what's
awesome.
with your dad's jams? They're
your kid's favorite jams by your dad's favorite bands.
That's
Got
so
Billy
good.
Joel on
I
there.
like that.
That is
I haven't
really
seen
good.
Billy Joel yet, but we'll see.
Yeah. I got nothing because
Yeah.
I'm 4 minutes late to a shoot. So that's my
ya.
final take. Great show again. We're back tomorrow. Obviously, tomorrow's our last day to preview the Browns and the Steelers. Guest-wise, who's coming on tomorrow?
Aditi Maurice and Mike Polk will be live from a bar.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Nice list.
What?
And the post
Yeah,
game
because
tomorrow.
everybody's going to be hydrating before the game during our show tomorrow. Look, I know it's a weekday, but there's going to be a lot of people playing hooky, and they'll be tailgating early tomorrow, getting ready for the 8 o'clock start. Update on Chad Johnson. He wants to come on. He wants to come in. Problem is, he gets in late tomorrow after we're off the air, and right now, unless that changes, he's scheduled to leave Friday before he would be able to come in. Possibly might change. I'm not looking for it to change, but if it does, we'd love to have him in. And he said, if not this trip, for sure, sometime.
We're also doing headlines tomorrow and the fence game. Double up on games tomorrow. So
I wish
Very
that
good.
Guardians White Sox game was in the afternoon tomorrow. It's too bad.
Yeah. And true or foul, when is that?
True or foul?
we had to skip true or false this week. We just didn't have enough time. We'll
Fair
get
foul.
double true or false next week.
No, I'm just talking about true or foul.
True or foul. You used to play my games now.
Jason's new game.
All right.
True or foul,
Let's go Brownies.
false or fair.